welcome everybody. I know it is hot everywhere, so I really appreciate you taking the time to join this event. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, why we came together to do this. But before doing that, my name is Leila. I'm a plant-based nutritionist, a former doctor and animal rights activist, and of course a vegan. So yes, how did this whole campaign, come to happen? When I first suggested it, I never imagined that 4 people would actually come together, 4 people with rather small platforms, and we would make it happen. But I was also never expecting that the 4 of us would solve all of the sanctuary's financial challenges. That was never our goal. Our goal was to bring people together, to make noise, to keep the sanctuary in people's minds, to encourage people to write emails to organizations, groups, and share posts. And I guess the goal was to reach donors who may have the platform and the means to donate and help the sanctuary, but also to reach people who would otherwise not really hear about the sanctuary, the Heartstone Sanctuary. And to be honest, reflecting back, it has been a busy 4 weeks for the 4 of us. And I think we have achieved a lot. And actually, I think we did achieve our goal. We have raised 4,000 euros. That is 4,000 euros that wasn't there before. And more importantly, we have reached entirely new audiences. We got 4 sponsors, and we got a lot of donations from Germany. People who may never have discovered this sanctuary without this campaign. And our initial goal was actually to raise only 5,000 euros. So, reaching 4,000 euros out of those 5,000, I think that is a huge accomplishment. And to me, that is what grassroots fundraising is about. It's not about one fundraiser magically solving every problem. It's about people refusing to stand by. And instead, we asked ourselves, what can we do together? And we had so many people who, contributed. We had some, obviously, who donated their time. Some people donated their products, and some others, donated money. So many individuals came together, and that is, how we managed to get 4,000 euros. And I know sometimes people talk about fundraising as if it's not enough. But I believe every euro raised, every new donor, every person who shares a post, every email that we send out, every conversations that is started about, the campaign, these things matter. We build community, and all these things create momentum, and they will have a ripple effect. So personally, I'm incredibly proud of what we have achieved together. And I'm not just talking about, the 4 of us, but also all the other people who were involved. So, but of course, I'm deeply grateful to Luna, Jen, and Elena. We came together to help the cows at Heartstone. And, none of us did it for recognition. And I have never worked with a team where there was so little ego. It was all about the cause and a genuine desire to help these animals. So thank you, really from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to, the people who co-organized this event, but also to everyone who donated, shared, and encouraged others to donate, and everybody who believed in this campaign. I know our fundraiser hasn't solved every challenge that the sanctuary faces, but together we made a real difference. And I believe that doing something is always better than doing nothing. So thank you. I don't know, Luna, Elena, which one wants to go next?
I can go. We decided we're all just going to do a very brief introduction so you know who we are and what made us, answer to Leila's call when she asked if somebody's up, and our relationship to the sanctuary. So in my case, the story is brief. I somehow came across the sanctuary on Instagram. I don't remember how and when exactly, but it was Instagram. And from the day I saw this, I was so impressed about what Nia is doing there all by herself. And I've always felt a very special relationship with cows. So I've been following, I've been, helping within my means financially here and there. But when Leila just asked who's up to do this, they're like, let's do something. So that's my very brief story.
Hello. So I'm Luna. So yeah, I was trying to figure out how it came about that I got to know this sanctuary. It started actually with, there's a compilation that a collective called Goths for Palestine that Nia, who runs this sanctuary, is involved with, and they put together a compilation and albums to raise money for Palestine. And my band wrote a song, and that song was on the latest release. And then I found out about Heartstone somehow, because they're all obviously all connected. Started speaking to Nia quite a lot and realized that she runs the shop alone mostly, and it was all connected. And yeah, and I love cows as well. I love cows, and I heard the story, and you know, she's an amazing human. She does so much, and those cows deserve to carry on living a happy life. You know, I'm vegan as well, and so it means a lot to me. And yeah, this was going on in the background, but it was we kind of felt helpless because there's so much going on in the world. And then Leila chimed in a post and had this idea, and like, yep, let's do it. And here we are. So here we are. And it's been a lot to do, but it's been so worth it. And I'm really proud of what we've achieved so far. And we've connected with so many people, and we've made so many more people aware of this sanctuary. And that's really, really important. So yeah, so that's me. And then Jen can't be here this morning, but I think, or this afternoon, I think she'll be here at some point during the day. She just sent a message just explaining that she found Heartstone on Instagram, has been to the sanctuary a couple of times to help out, so has met most of the cows and really impressed, and loves how beautiful and gentle especially the big guys are. She just loves it there. So yeah, and I hope I can get to go at some point soon to meet these cows that will be rescued and will stay in their home. Yeah, so I guess people just pop in, right? So you'll just let people in as we go, if more people turn up. Cool. First offering of the day is a talk by myself, so Luna, and we're going to talk about ahimsa, something that really resonates a lot to me. Yeah, so thank you firstly as well for hanging out with us today. It really, really means a lot for you taking the time out today. So yeah, to start, firstly, really just I'm just acknowledging, as we've already talked about, people around the world at the moment and how we've all just gathered for this purpose. It feels really special that we're here for the cows. Yeah, just before we get into this talk, I'd just like to invite everyone just to tap into a little visualization that I've set out. So if you feel comfortable, just make yourself comfortable, close your eyes, pop this back in my ear so I can hear myself. So just take a slow, deep breath in and let your shoulders drop as you let it out. Just completely let go of whatever your day looked like before you joined this event. And just listen to my voice for a moment. And picture a warm summer evening. The air is nice, breezy but warm. The grass under your feet is soft, and everything around you is perfectly quiet. Just take it all in. And you start walking up a little hill, and right there, just relaxing in the tall grass, is a big, gentle cow. Just walking a bit closer to them, noticing this incredible warmth in their huge, wide eyes. Looking at those long, dark eyelashes and just watching how rhythmically their chest rises and falls as they breathe the air. Breathing just like you. And as you stand there next to them, you realize something really amazing, that they're not afraid of you. Not at all. They don't run away. They just look up at you with this quiet, trusting curiosity. In this moment, you don't need words. There's no threat, no danger. It's just a beautiful, peaceful moment between two living beings sharing the exact same sky. So taking one more deep breath into your chest, then exhale that feeling of connection in all the cells in your body. And when you're ready, please do open your eyes, lifting your shoulders to your ears, and exhale, just dropping your shoulders into this space. So what I certainly felt during that visualization, like I do a lot for myself, is that little softening in the chest, that instinct to want the animal to stay safe and happy and far from fear. And that is really the core human thing. That's what happens when our hearts naturally recognize another life. And we all have this inside of ourselves. I think about this in my own life day to day when I spot maybe a tiny creature in trouble, or maybe an injured bird, a little bug lying on their back, a stray dog that might be lost. And I get this immediate tug in my chest, this instant voice that says, oh, I need to help you. I don't want them to suffer. And in that split second, I don't ask at any point, is this creature useful to me? I don't care about the fact that we don't speak the same language. All my heart knows is that this life wants to be okay, and that my natural human compassion to this being. Yeah, so I feel this regularly, and I think since being vegan more so, just every step on a snail accidentally, I think about it for weeks. It's just really hard to process because they all mean a lot to me. This invisible thread that connects all of us. And today we're feeling that same tug in our chest for that entire herd of cows whose lives are quite literally on the line. So yes, ahimsa. So thousands of years ago, Hinduism, Jainism and Buddhism gave the exact feeling that we're talking about here and called it ahimsa. And it's a Sanskrit word. The prefix means not, and himsa means harm or violence. So the literal translation is ahimsa means non-harming, non-violence. And when most people think about yoga today, they immediately picture people doing crazy poses on a mat or stretching and balancing, maybe sweating in a hot room for hot yoga. But really the physical stuff is actually just the tip of the iceberg. Have any of you heard of Patanjali? Anyone in the room heard of Patanjali? No? Okay, well, he lived thousands of years ago and wrote the textbook, the Yoga Sutras. And so he mapped out this 8-part path for living a good, meaningful life. And he didn't start his guide with a headstand or crazy yoga poses or breath work. He started with the yamas, which are basically the rules of how we treat the world around us. And the very first concept of this was ahimsa. So Patanjali believed that if we aren't practicing the basic kindness and non-violence first, then the rest of yoga is pointless. It's just empty stretching, it's just physical movement. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is a lot deeper than that. It's a really all-encompassing experience. But ahimsa isn't a passive thing. It's not just sitting on your hands choosing not to do bad things. It really is a very active and a positive energy. So Patanjali actually wrote that when someone is truly grounded in ahimsa, all hostility around them just melts away, just like probably the ice in our water bottles today. So when we actively choose non-violence, non-harming, we create a literal safe zone for all life to thrive around us. And I care so much about this. When I first went vegan in 2016, I think, I really, really resonated with this ahimsa that I actually got it tattooed on my arm there. I don't know if you can see it. And my friend and I did this together. And to be completely honest with you, it was completely 100% about the animals when I got it. So this close friend of mine, back when I lived in Surrey, would go to amazing yoga classes, experience this amazing joy with this amazing teacher talking about things like ahimsa and all those kinds of things, and we'd feel all the love and the peace in our hearts, and we'd go home, we'd look for them on Instagram, we'd add them, and then we'd find further down on their Instagram pasting a picture of a steak that they had, and this completely blew our minds. We couldn't understand how you can teach something like ahimsa, but it stops shut off the compassion when it comes to living, breathing beings. And then over time, we start to understand the power of cognitive dissonance. Everyone here know what that is? I'll say it anyway. So there's a mental trick where we compartmentalize our hearts because society makes it so easy and convenient to look the other way. And most people feel that. And that is why it's quite hard for a lot of people to go vegan or to choose a plant-based life or see animals in the same way as other beings. And I knew personally that I would never forget this principle. I would never, ever consume animals in any way, shape or form, but I still felt right for me to print this really important message on my skin forever. It was my daily promise to keep my eyes wide open, even when culture tells me that it's easier to blink or look away. And so, yeah, and I don't feel like it will ever change for me. So yoga really teaches us that harm doesn't just happen when you physically hurt something. It actually starts in 3 very, very day-to-day places. So in our thoughts, through gossip, cruel comments, or just total indifference. In our actions, when we directly or indirectly cause suffering. And in our words, through gossip, through cruel comments, or just total indifference with people. And our hearts get hard with all these kinds of experiences. So when we take our yoga off the mat, we have to, my internet's unstable. Can everyone still hear me? Yeah, I think so. Cool. So yeah, when we take yoga off our mats, we have to ask ourselves, who is in this circle of kindness? Is it just our family? Is it our friends? Is it our cats and dogs? Or do we just stretch it out to include every living being as well as our cats and our dogs? All the bugs, all the life on Earth, the Earth. But here's another element of ahimsa. And honestly, this part most of us forget, especially when we're passionate about saving lives, saving everyone else. And to be completely transparent, I didn't myself understand this element of ahimsa till probably about 5 years ago. It was all about the animals, all about the planet. It wasn't about myself. And ahimsa is also about ahimsa towards ourselves. So, I mean, let's face it, we're living in a time that's really, really heavy, really complicated, really stressful, and the world throws so much at us. The news is constantly intense. And it's so easy to fall into the trap of perfectionism and hopelessness, and that we feel like maybe we're not doing enough, not giving enough, or being good enough to fix all of the problems. And we carry that weight of the world on our shoulders until, boom, we just burn out. And we can't pour from an empty cup. None of us can. We all want to do everything to help, but we have to also look after ourselves. And true yoga reminds, oh, hello, person entering the room. True yoga reminds us to honor that humanness, that none of us are perfect. We mess up, we get tired, we get overwhelmed, and we make mistakes. And ahimsa means looking at our own flaws, at our own exhaustion, our own limits, and treating ourselves with some really gentle but radical love. Treat ourselves like we wish to treat those that are closest to us. And it's easy to forget sometimes. I know too well. I think it's a lesson we probably are all learning, and it's something that we can remind ourselves of. But ahimsa is there to remind us. So if we treat ourselves harshly for not being perfect advocates, we're just practicing violence against our own spirits. And ahimsa invites us to forgive ourselves more often. Forgive ourselves for being human. Forgive ourselves for struggling and not getting it right. For being tired, because being tired is a human thing. And we all feel like we've always got to be so active and getting things done. And actually we also need to pause and listen to our needs as well. And take a deep breath and say, hey, look how far I've come. Sometimes when I forget to realize this, the last while, I saw an Instagram somewhere about this, sort of be your own pep talker, be your own cheerleader. So the suggestion was, if you catch yourself in the mirror or in a window or something, hey, I see you. You're doing really good today. Hey, you've got this. Or whatever. Just be there for yourself. If you can be there for others, then why wouldn't you do that for your own heart? Can any of you relate to feeling like you're mean to yourselves? Hands up all the time, non-stop. But can you also relate to being good to yourselves and knowing what that feels like? Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It's possible. It's just hard to do sometimes when we have to do so much, but it's so important to fill our own cup. So when we are kind to our human hearts, we actually fill up that well of compassion, which makes us want to share it even more. When we have enough for ourselves, we have enough butter, vegan butter in our tub, we have enough for everyone, but we have to have some for ourselves as well. So thinking about ahimsa, like historically, we can see actually how the principles of ahimsa have really changed the world. So I'll just do briefly just two very important, really amazing points. So basically, yoga came from a quiet place of yogis meditating in caves to a massive force for social change, actually. And in the 20th century, Gandhi took ahimsa off the meditation cushion and used it to lead a non-violent revolution calling it Soul Force. And decades later, Martin Luther King adopted Gandhi's exact method for the civil rights movement. And that was ahimsa in action. Powerful stuff. It doesn't have to be a yoga thing. It can actually change the world. Unstable connection again. Okay, back again. So ahimsa really is like a radical understanding that no one heals by making someone else bleed. It's about expanding our circle of empathy until it includes our neighbors, our planets, and everyone, every being. And it's the reason that we're here today, the cows of Heartstone Sanctuary. All of those beautiful, beautiful cows. So just looking at everyone in this call and anyone that watches later, I know that we have a really beautiful mix of people tuning in and watching later. And ahimsa is really about expanding that circle. I'm one of the four. All four of us, we didn't know each other a month ago. We've never met each other in person. I feel like I've known you all four for a really long time, even though I don't really know you very well because we've only talked about the cows. But that's my inner circle expanded, and that feels really special to me. You know, we're literally on other parts of the world, and we have created this magic together, and that is ahimsa in action. It's really special, really, really special. So whoever is watching, if you're vegan today, this sanctuary, I guess, is perhaps the physical version of the daily choices. And for you, maybe it's a way to deepen your connection. I know for me, when I visit sanctuaries, that is my way to deepen my connection to animals, to help as best as I can. And this whole experience for us was to do that, to connect more deeply and help those who need it. And so it's also a reminder that as a vegan, it's a reminder that it's not just a diet. It really is an active daily ritual of love. And every single meal is a practical prayer of non-violence, of ahimsa. And if you're not vegan, anyone watching, I think everyone in this room is vegan, but maybe not. And anyone watching afterwards, if you're not, ahimsa, just please hear me out. Ahimsa doesn't judge you, and it doesn't exclude you either. Wherever you're on your path, you're 100% belong here too. And ahimsa doesn't expect us to be perfect overnight. It just asks us, can I expand my circle of kindness? Can I expand my circle of kindness in the actions that I choose every day? And right now, this circle is pointing us directly to this very specific group of animals, these beautiful, beautiful cows of Heartstone. So this brings us to just the reason that we're here as well. I just wanted to touch base on that, especially as it's one of the first offerings of the day. So again, ahimsa teaches us that same spark of life, the same desire to be safe and avoid pain that lives inside of us, lives inside every single animal, every single being on this planet, and also those cows. And cows are incredibly emotional and sensitive. They form best friends. They literally mourn the lives of their loved ones, and they look out for each other. They're really special beings. I would love to spend more time with them. Has anyone in here spent time with cows? Yeah. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. So I did a few years ago. I need to again soon. I've been to a couple of different sanctuaries, and they all have the most amazing personalities. Even, yes, hydrate all. If you haven't yet, have some hydration. Nice. So yeah, I've spent a bit of time with animals at sanctuaries, cows, and yeah, fun fact, did you know that their tongues are like cats' tongues? They're really big. I got randomly licked by a cow and I was like, whoa, what's that? And it's like a big cat tongue, really rough, but quite nice. I quite like textures, kind of like a scratch the itch. So go on there, yeah, right there. And they're like big giant dogs basically, and they run around and they're cheekily, you know, they run around with joy and they play with each other, and you get to notice the cheekiness in cows as well. They're very, very sweet, curious, playful, and yeah, and they love to chill together in the sun, and they want nothing but love and food, obviously food. But right now we look at these cows and realize that all the cows feel all of these different things, and they've got a right to life and safety and peace. And acknowledging that, that is ahimsa. That is ahimsa. So right now, their peace is being threatened big time. And again, that's why we're here today. And we've done so well with the fundraising. And if we can get more in, that would be awesome. We've done so well, and we can do more. We can do more. But we do what we can. So yeah, so Heartstone has really been a haven for them, a place where these cows have been brought and given a second sacred promise that they'll never be hurt, exploited, or killed. But running a sanctuary takes a lot more than just a big heart. You have to deal with a lot of the legal compliances and safety rules. And right now, the authorities have handed down a list of mandatory infrastructure upgrades that the sanctuary has to build. And if they can't make these physical upgrades, the sanctuary won't meet the legal code. And if they don't meet this legal code, the authorities will legally have to step in and seize the cows. And it really breaks my heart and all of our hearts what this would do to them, being torn away from their home, they know, away from their caretaker Nia, who loves them so much, and who they love and trust, and split them up from their herd. It's just unimaginable. And Heartstone doesn't lack the will to protect them at all. Far from it. They have all the love in the world. They just lack the cash. And the clock is ticking. So this is the exact moment where our collective philosophy of ahimsa can turn into physical infrastructure. This is where we enter the real world of ahimsa in action. Our daily choices can literally change the energy of the world. And today it's all about not being perfect. It's about pulling together and protecting them. And these cows really have a right to stay in their home and continue to live their best life. So I'd just like to start closing this little session. Some words that I pulled together. They may be clumsy at times, didn't have a lot of time to do it, but I wanted to just 2 a.m. Luna brain when she can't sleep. So yeah, I invite you to close your eyes and just take a nice deep breath in. So the circle of ahimsa. It does not begin with a perfect posture or a breath held long in the dark. It begins where the skin meets the world, with a choice to leave no scar. It is the quiet truce you sign with yourself on the days you feel small, when the world asks for more than you have to give, and you choose to be kind through it all. It's the radical grace that looks at our faults, at our clumsy, stumbling grace. The whispers, that whispers, you don't have to be perfect. And then it stretches outwards, breaking the walls we have made, reaching past the borders of human skin into the fields and the shade. To the ones who speak in a creature tongue, who look through a gentle eye, who ask for nothing but love and a right to live life free from harm. Ahimsa is a roof where the rain used to fall. It's not a passive prayer, it's a rainbow bubble for us all. So every single penny that we raise today and beyond goes directly to the infrastructure. It goes straight to the meeting, these mandates, and keeping these cows exactly where they are safe and happy. So every single donation made is literally a brick in the fortress, keeping them in their forever home. So yeah, I want to just close our little session here with, in the world of yoga, we usually close a session with a mantra to lock in that energy. And I wanted to share this one with you that I remember learning on my yoga teacher training that was really resonated. So Loka Samasta Sikhanu Bhavantu. So I will explain what that means, and then I'll guide you through 3, and then we'll close. Is that good for everyone? Okay, so it basically means, may all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may the thoughts and words and actions of my own life contribute in some way to that happiness and to that freedom, be freedom for all. And also, before we start, there's an incredible version, a soulful version of this mantra by Haniko Omori and Claire Uchima. And we'll drop that link in the chat notes so you can have a listen later and let that wash over you. It's a really beautiful version. So let us begin with this mantra together. And you don't have to sing if you don't feel like it's resonating with you. Just going to have a little swing. And yeah, don't worry about what it looks like. Just worry about what it feels like. You're on mute anyway, so feel free to make some sound. So taking a nice deep breath in. And Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. So let's make our actions today and every day after the physical proof of that mantra. It's all about waking up from the dream of separateness to the truth of unity, as Adyashanti said. So please do click on the donation link in the chat box. Give whatever fits within your limits today, and let's save these cows together. Thank you so much. Love, love, love. Thank you, everyone. So next up, is everyone okay? Okay, awesome. Okay, so next up we have Yvonne teaching a workshop about turning pain into power. Over to you, Yvonne.
Thank you, Luna. Before we turn over, that was really beautiful. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Luna. That was gorgeous and really appreciate that. And I love, yeah, it's something that I don't know yoga a whole lot, but learning the principles of it, the things you don't tend to see as much on Instagram is so important. And I think it's such a beautiful message to share. So thank you. And thank you guys so much for setting this up. It's so important. And I think we're here with a shared vision, which is always beautiful to share a space with people with similar values and who are doing something instead of just standing by passively. I think there can be a lot of that at times. So my name is Yvonne Doherty. I'm coming to you from just outside Dublin in Ireland in a place called Kildare. Delighted to be here, and like that, it's something that I feel very resonant with. I've been vegan 8 years, and just seeing the struggle in Heartstone can be hard like that to watch and witness. As you can see, it is so challenging. You can see how much Nia is putting into it, so really wanted to get on board to support. So delighted to be here and able to do that. So a little bit about me. I am a mindset coach, a speaker, breathwork facilitator, and a few other things. I'm an author, and I do workshops and facilitate around well-being and shifting from anxiety a lot of the time more into confidence. And the reason that I do that and why I wanted to speak about what I'm talking about today is because I suppose fundamentally, I wholeheartedly believe that we're a lot more powerful than we realize and then we may allow ourselves to experience. And I see in so many people just that denial of that power and maybe a disconnection from just how much we actually can do. I wanted to focus on emotions today because it's something that I was very much disconnected from in my own life for a long time. I've actually seen just how much we can gain from allowing ourselves to experience our emotions more fully. So my background, I'm a very sensitive human. I don't know if anyone might relate to that, but I feel everything a lot. Yeah, right. I think a lot of us are, and I think that's such a gift. And to have that empathic nature is such a powerful, beautiful thing. And at the same time, growing up, it definitely did not feel like that for me. I felt like it was such a burden. I felt like it was a flaw. I felt like there was something wrong with me because I did feel so very much. And as a child, even my tears we met with, come on, be a big brave soldier, or don't be throwing a tantrum if I was angry. And I was often very angry, even though I was also playing the good girl role. I had a lot of feeling in me and I didn't know what to do with that. As different things happen in my life, particularly in teenage years, I really struggled and I found it difficult to be a human and to be feeling so many things and to feel like I had no outlet or no understanding of what to do with all of this stuff bubbling up within me. I felt very ill-equipped to navigate life, and a big part of life is feeling humans. So that can make, is feeling emotions, sorry, and that can make being a human very challenging. when I was around 15, 16, I started to experience depression because I was shutting a lot of stuff down. I was experiencing a lot of anxiety and just being in my body, everything felt very uncomfortable. And going into school, I'd be having panic attacks. And I was like, I can't go out there. What are people going to think of me? I got very uncomfortable in my appearance and how I looked. And I ended up developing an eating disorder around that age as well. And that struggle lasted with me for quite a while. And I got very low and very apathetic and very much just like, I don't care. What is the point? And for someone who had always felt so much, for someone who would be quite fiery and quite full of passion now, to be so disconnected and to feel so low in life just felt so wrong. And it took a lot of help to start to reignite that spark again and reconnect to myself. And a big part of that was starting to reconnect to what was happening within me, because our emotions are not a bad thing. And yet, for so many of us, we have learned to suppress them, to numb them out, to distract from them, to run as far as we can from them. And that was definitely something I was trying to do in different ways, whether it was through food or alcohol or taking it out of myself or just numbing out, just really trying not to feel. The challenge with that is that we cannot selectively numb. So if we are numbing out all the pain and the sadness and the grief, we're also numbing out the joy and the excitement and the enthusiasm and the passion, all those beautiful gifts that we have that can mobilize us to do something in our lives, to create change like we're trying to create, or to respond to the injustice in the world that may be fueling our anger. So I started to learn to open up more to my emotions, and I'm going to share with you today how I did that and why that even matters, and some of the things that maybe we weren't taught about emotions that I have found very helpful. So why it matters, I suppose, is because life is all about emotion. So there isn't avoiding them. As much as we may try, it takes a lot more energy to try and run from them than it does to actually feel them and heal them. What we resist persists. So if you are resisting the emotions that are bubbling up within you, they're going to perpetuate, because realistically, all they actually are signals. They're messengers. They are telling you something about your experience of life. And if you're not listening to what they're trying to tell you, they're going to start shouting. They're going to get louder and louder and say, please pay attention to me. So for a long time, what I was doing was nearly like trying to push a beach ball underwater. I was putting so much energy into trying to stuff all of this stuff down, and eventually up it popped, and it felt so overwhelming to be experiencing my emotions. So then learning how to work with them more, I had to realize, well, what is it that I'm actually working with? So an emotion is just energy in motion. It's not good or bad. It just is. It's just energy. But many of us may associate it with being positive or negative. So I'd love to hear in the chat, what are some of the emotions that you might deem as negative? What are the ones that are more uncomfortable for you to feel? I'm going to just share a few words there. We can use them as examples then. Anger seems to be frowned upon. 100% Jowd. Anyone agree with that? I would. Very angry little human, so I was. And I felt like I had nowhere to put that. I remember trying to work with it at different times, and I started playing drums, and then I was breaking drumsticks because I was putting so much into it. Then I had to get a punching bag to try and move it. And it was just different ways to try and move that energy. So anger is a very energetic emotion. And it's fantastic when we use that energy, because with any justice movement, it starts with people who are very angry. It starts with people who are seeing what's happening and are like, this is not okay. So anger, the message that it's giving is, this is not okay. And often it comes when there's maybe a boundary violation, or where we see unfairness or injustice happening. And if we were to continue suppressing and numbing out that emotion of anger, saying, this is wrong, this isn't good, I shouldn't be feeling this, we're not going to be mobilized to act. We'll actually become apathetic because we're trying to suppress and numb that out. But if we allow our anger and recognize, no, this isn't bad, this is just energy in motion, I don't need to be afraid of this, we can use that then to create a beautiful fundraiser, to get in contact with people, to come together, to do something, because there is a lot of energy in it. And if we can use that for ourselves instead of against ourselves, we can start to create real change. And that's where any kind of revolution or social movement comes from, is that, like, this is not okay. And that's the gift that anger offers us. Similar with sadness. So I was afraid of my sadness, and I would feel a lot of, great, thank you for that as well. So I'd feel a lot of sadness because I just found the world a very confusing place. I found like there was so much going on, and I would feel so much of it because I am quite empathetic. I always mix that up with empathic. I'm not sure which it is, but I'm both of those. I feel so much stuff, and we see so much happen that is like, how can this be happening? How are so many people suffering? How are so many animals suffering? How is this normalized? And we can feel so isolated and alone in that. So even loneliness comes up then. And again, with that sadness, it can feel overwhelming. that's one of the other challenges that comes with our emotions, is we're scared to feel them, because what if it takes us over? What if it becomes all consuming? What if it never ends? That was what I felt anyways. Like, if I go into this sadness, I will never stop being sad. But the opposite is true. When you feel it, you heal it. And as I said, what you resist persists. And research actually shows that it only needs to take 90 seconds for us to fully feel and process an emotion when we let it. But often, instead of doing that, we get our minds involved and we get the judgment involved, or we're thinking, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this, or this is stupid, or nobody else is feeling so sad, so why should I? And all of these different judgments come up. And so one of the core parts that we'll talk about is how to let go of those stories and just allow it to be what it is. Again, it's telling us something. Sadness or grief is connected with love and care. It's just the other side of it. To the degree that we can love is possibly to the degree that we're going to end up grieving. But what a beautiful thing to care so much about something that we can feel so much when we lose it. And I think that's a real gift. I'm getting Google Photo a year ago memories at the moment, and my dog was very unwell last year, and he was my reference point for unconditional love. He was like a soul animal, and I was so connected to him, and he got very unwell. And I loved him so much, and the grief was so painful. And sometimes when we're thinking about emotions, it's like, I'd rather not feel that. But if I didn't feel that grief, I wouldn't have had that connection with him. And to the level that I had to feel that grief, it just reminded me of how good it was while he was with us, how much he gave me, and how beautiful it is to be able to experience such a depth of connection with another being. And I think when we are so fearful of what's coming up within us, we don't give ourselves that opportunity to live fully. Because in everything in life, we're either moving towards the emotions we want to feel more of, or away from the ones maybe we don't want to feel so much, but it's all colored by emotion. Our connections with others are colored by emotion. The experiences that make our hearts leap, or the experiences that we remember most, is because of the emotional attachment to them. So emotions are incredibly important for this human experience, but they're also important for our self-esteem, for a sense of empowerment, for a sense of inner peace, to relieve stress, to release overthinking. All of these things are interconnected, because if we are shunning off a whole part of ourselves, telling the part of ourselves that it is emotional, that it's not okay, then we are telling part of ourselves that you're not okay, you're not acceptable. How confident or good about ourselves can we really feel if a whole chunk of us is like, oh, I don't want to look at that though, that's not okay? We're not going to feel whole. We're not going to feel stable on our own 2 feet, because we are telling ourselves, this is not okay, who I am is not okay. And we are all emotional beings. Our bodies are equipped perfectly to handle the full range of our emotions. That is why tears come from our eyes. That is why we might feel tightness in our chest when we're anxious. That's why our stomach might flip when we're excited. Our bodies are made for these things. But instead of listening to the body, we tend to go towards the head and say, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this. Let's try and shut it down. Or, oh, that's so embarrassing. Oh, why am I feeling so much? Nobody else is feeling this. So we need to let go of the mind and come into the body, because the body knows exactly what it is doing. The body is incredibly wise. Another one of the ones that you shared there was fear. And I think it was fear of repression or rejection, which is so important. And a lot of that is driving things like overthinking, anxiety, which I was very skilled in for a long time. I would spend so much time overthinking everything, ruminating on, oh, that stupid thing I said 2 weeks ago, and what is everyone going to think of me, and what's coming up tomorrow, and I'm just so busy in my head. Yeah, I'm sure some of us can relate to that, right? And when we're in our head so much, there's a phrase that says, like, overthinking is underfeeling. We're trying to run from our emotions, because if I can think my way through everything and figure everything out with my head, then I don't have to feel all this uncomfortable stuff that's going on here. Because it's really the discomfort about our emotions that I think makes them most challenging. The discomfort and the fear that we have of them, because they don't feel great. But we can handle discomfort. And as we handle discomfort, we allow ourselves to grow. We get out of that comfort zone and we move towards growth. And that's how we start to become more confident in ourselves and to release some of those patterns of overthinking and the ways that we're distracting ourselves and running from ourselves constantly. Fear is a signal, but it's not a stop sign. It is telling us something. It's telling us that there may be threat coming, that we may be unsafe in some way, that we may not be okay within ourselves. And so fear, what it's really looking for is reassurance, is this reminder from ourselves, I am okay, all is well. For me, I was terrified. Like, I spent a lot of time not able to leave my house and go out, and now I speak at festivals and in classrooms and all over the place, and I'm very comfortable in myself. But for so long, I was like, if I leave the house, everyone's going to be judging me, everyone's going to be looking at me, and I would feel that in my whole body, and I would be terrified. I'd be afraid of rejection. I'd be afraid of not being liked. I'd be afraid of not being good enough. I'd be afraid of most things. So it took a while of training myself really to recognize, actually, I'm all right. I'm not in danger. And some of that is coming back to ourselves in the mind with reassurance. I'd say to myself over and over again, all is well. I am safe. And I'd be breathing. And as we give breaths to our body, we send the signal, I am safe. I can calm down. because we shift out of that fight or flight, that stress response in the body, to parasympathetic nervous system, which is just a long word for the rest and digest, where we can relax, where we're like, I am okay, I'm safe. So fear, again, it's a signal, it's telling us something, and what it's looking for, imagining like a scared child or someone coming to you and is like, I'm so afraid of being rejected. How would you respond to them? Would you be like, oh, shut up, like you shouldn't be feeling that? Or would you say, come here to me, I've got you. It's okay, you can get through this. You're so capable, you have everything you need within you, and I'm here. And that's the kind of message we need to be sending to ourselves with all of our emotions. When we're going through it, it's not easy. And even with lots of practice, like I have a weird relationship. I feel like I love emotions now in a sense, but often at the start I'm like, oh, but then I'm like, oh, what a gift it is to feel so fully. Like it's amazing. I feel so much more alive now, so much more connected, so much more able to like be there with other people in theirs. So it's such a gift. And yeah, it can be like, oh God, when we're going into it. But again, that's the gift that we get to grow, that we get to show ourselves, I can handle this. And the more we practice doing that, the more evidence we have and we feel more confident in it. So jealousy is a biggie as well. Yeah, when we feel like others have maybe more than we have, or I'd love to have that. And again, it's telling us something. So getting curious about it, when we see this coming up, it's like, oh, feeling jealous of that. What could be going on for me there? And it's just softening the tone. A lot of what I used to do was such judgment and criticism and just harshness towards myself when I was feeling so much, which isn't very nice. It's not very ahimsa of me. So it was shifting more towards this curiosity and compassion of, what is going on? What is actually happening within me? Why might I be feeling that? And it's not like, why are you feeling that? It was like, why might I be feeling that? It's more gentle, more curious, more open, because there's something to be learned here. If someone's knocking on my door with a message, I just don't want to just slam it shut or be like, oh, you shouldn't be here. It's like, oh, they've something for me. Lovely. Come on in. Let's have a chat. Let's breathe through this and we'll get through it. And so with that, it could be like, they're actually inspiring me. I'd love to have what they have. Isn't that amazing that they're doing that? Oh, but I don't feel as worthy, or maybe I feel like I'm lacking something, that I can't have what they have. So it's just bringing that curiosity and softness to, what is that telling me about me, and how can I respond to that? How can I help myself to move away from this feeling towards actually feeling more accepting or grateful, or whatever it might be that we want to feel? But it's not that we're trying to get rid of it, but we're receiving the message and we're responding to the message. So I've just noticed I could talk about this for a very long time, so I'll get to the point a little bit more. Another one that can be challenging is guilt. I think guilt can come up when we feel like we are maybe not doing enough, or we should be doing more, or that there's just so much bad in the world and we can't resolve everything, or we carry a lot of burdens. I think particularly when we are more sensitive, we can take on the weight of the world. It's definitely how I have been for a long time. It's just like, oh God, like I just want to help everyone and do everything, and I can't, and I feel so bad that these things are happening. And okay, what is this telling me? Guilt is kind of defined as this feeling of like, I have done something bad. Shame is, I am bad. So guilt is more behavior focused. Shame would be more identity focused. And when we feel that feeling of guilt, sometimes it is just because it's coming from fear that we're not doing enough. So it's kind of, again, based on that scarcity and lack and thinking we should be doing more all the time. And those shoulds are information that we are putting pressure on ourselves. So it's just listening to, okay, what's coming up for me? And then asking the question, have I done anything bad? Am I a bad person? No, I care a lot. I'm doing my best. And again, it's looking for that reassurance. The ones that tend to be more rooted in fear are just looking for that reassurance, that kind, soft inner voice of, you're okay, you're doing okay. But there's that signal coming up that we need a little bit more of that. Maybe we've been putting a lot on ourselves to try and do everything. Maybe we've been taking responsibility for stuff that's actually out of our control. Maybe we need a little bit more boundaries around what we can and can't do, what is and isn't ours, and allowing ourselves to protect our energy in that sense. Because we're no good to any movement or to anyone if we are depleted in ourselves constantly, if we're always giving but never allowing ourselves to receive from ourselves and to resource from within. So it's noticing what's coming up and bringing curiosity to it. So the how is 3 A's, right? So the first one is awareness, and it's to start paying attention. A lot of us have gotten so used to not having emotions or not paying attention to our emotions that we might not even know what they feel like or what our experience of them is. We might default to, oh, I'm grand, or I'm good, if someone asks how we are when we're terrible underneath the surface. So it's starting to pay attention and to notice what actually is going on within me. How am I feeling? Even if you're just asking that to yourself initially, just checking in with your body. Because I did this as a practice daily for a while. There's a great book, Letting Go by David Hawkins, and he's talking about the different emotions. And I just checked in with myself each day, and I'd just be sitting there and I start feeling emotional. I'm like, Jesus, I didn't even know that was there. And there'd be sadness there, or there'd be anger there. But I hadn't been checking in. I didn't know that stuff was there. And it's nearly like a bucket of water that's just kind of sitting in us. And we need to start emptying that, because we're carrying that around all the time. And it can be quite heavy. It can be a lot to be carrying. So just checking in and noticing, okay, what's here with me? And you can scan through your body, and you might notice it as a feeling. So there might be a sensation like that tightness in the chest. There might be like a churning in the stomach. There might be up in the throat as well. There can be a lot of emotion stored there, or we're just feeling restricted or blocked. It might be a bit heady. Scanning through the body and bringing awareness to what's here, what's present within me. How am I actually doing? Honestly, if there was no judgment, if there was nobody else needs to know about this, how am I doing? The next practice that I would suggest is to focus your awareness wherever you're feeling it in the body and give it a shape. What does it look like? What color is it? What size is it? And start to connect to it as this is what it is, this is what it looks like, just to help us to have that bit of a bridge to this is what's present within me. Give it a name. What am I working with here? Is it sadness? Is it anger? Is it grief? Is it joy? Is it loss? What am I feeling right now? And connecting in with that. Then create space for it. The second A is acceptance, which means allowing it to be as it is. It's not judging it. It's not telling it that it's wrong. It's not trying to change it or do anything different with it. It's like, sadness is here. Okay. And I'm going to allow it to be here. Almost as if it's a sad child knocking on my door. I'm just going to welcome them in. And I might not know what to say to them. I might not know what they need, but I'm like, come here to me. Let's just sit and be. And let's breathe together. And you have as much space as you need, and sending them love because they need that love. And just being with it. And you'll notice that intensity, if you measured it 1 to 10, it'll start to go down. So awareness, noticing what's going on within you, acceptance, being with it, allowing it fully, not trying to restrict it, not being like, oh, that's enough, allowing it as fully as you can, and coming back to your breath if it feels overwhelming, just breathing into it and allowing it to be there. Action then is responding to the signal that it's given. You're opening up a conversation here with your inner world, and your job then is to listen, to build a relationship with it. For a long time, it's probably been denied or ignored, and we might not have a great relationship with our emotions. So now it's about starting to get acquainted, starting to learn them, starting to notice how they feel in the body, how they show themselves, what they might be telling us. And then action is responding. So like that, if there's a lot of anger, can I do something with this? Do I need to punch something or scream? Screaming in your car is great. I've been doing that a bit recently, and it's just like really lets stuff out. Punching a pillow, doing things in a safe way, moving the body, shaking the body, using that energy, starting a movement, starting some kind of campaign, mobilizing it. For sad, cry. Let yourself cry. Let it come out. Let yourself really feel it, because as you do, it moves. So action is about doing something with the signal that you're getting, or maybe it's telling you something about your life. I need more boundaries here. I need to forgive myself here. I need to be kinder to myself here. But it's all information and data that you can take on and that you can use for yourself to help you to shift that. And as you clear that energy, you have more energy to give. You're going to feel stronger in yourself because you're no longer denying yourself and suppressing yourself. And you're going to be able to use that confidence to own your voice in a whole new way that allows you to make the difference that you're all here to make, because that's why you're feeling so much, is because you know that how things are not okay. And with those emotions, with the signals that you're being given, you can do something with that. So thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate your attention. If you do have any questions, I'm going to have to pop off after this, but you can find me at Dare to Live Coaching on Instagram. Feel free to ask any questions that you have, or I have a video that can guide you through just a little emotional process as well. So very much here to help and support as much as I can, and sending you all so much love. Thank you for this, and thank you for the opportunity to share that as well.
Thank you so much for that, Yvonne. So I was trying to find my microphone to turn it back on. That was really beautiful. So many new pages in my journal there. Thank you for that. That was really, really beautiful. It felt very, it's just a really great continuation from Ahimsa, because essentially that's what you're talking about there, isn't it? It was really beautiful. So yeah, so thank you so much. We'll link up your socials if anyone wants to continue following you and supporting your work and everything. So thank you so much. So before we move on to the next offering, just wanted to mention our sponsors. We've got Hello Gnet, Asha Spakshuli. Sorry about this.
You're close.
Ethical Globe, and we have the newest edition, Be Kind Vegan Coffee Caravan. Amazing sponsors. Thanks to all the sponsors.
Dropped in this morning. So
yes, literally dropped in this morning. Yeah. Thank you so much to all the sponsors. Awesome. So moving on to our next offering. So time for a bit of movement now with Serena Ó Raghailligh. So if everyone wants to join in, feel free to go and get your yoga mats and just make yourself ready for some yoga. Heart opening, slow flow vinyasa. So over to you, Serena.
Thank you. Yeah, my name's Serena. I'm actually from Dublin, but I'm living down in Wexford in Ireland. And I'm delighted to be here today. I've been following Heartstone for a while now, and just so moved by the amount of work that Nia does for the cows. And I feel so strongly about cows as well because I've been vegan for 10 years, but vegetarian. I was vegetarian before that for about 4 years. And went vegetarian but given up dairy in 2012 because I actually worked with cows. I worked on a dairy farm in Australia for 3 months. Yeah, so as part of getting your second year visa there, you do farm work, and so we got called to a dairy farm. My first experience, well, proper experience with cows. From Dublin, not many cows around, so this was very unique. But like I loved animals anyways, but that was in word cats and dogs and everything. And I said I loved animals, but I was eating meat before going to the farm. But what what I experienced there was it was during calving season, and I never forget the calves being taken away from the mammies, and the mammies crying for days afterwards. You could just hear like they grieve they want their babies. And for me, I just like I couldn't get that thought out of my head. So when I came home from Australia straight away, it was just okay, there's a disconnect between my feelings and my actions. So for me, it led to giving up meat, giving up dairy, didn't fully give up the rest, but gradually got there 4 years later. So I've been 10 years vegan now. But so just Heartstone, what they do, I really, do what I can, on a monthly donation basis, but to be able to do a little bit more. It's not much, but to be able to contribute towards this fundraiser, and well done to everybody involved. An incredible amount raised already, and amazing awareness as well. So today, yeah, like today's practice, and Luna already gave an amazing talk on ahimsa. But today's practice is inspired by two of yoga's ethical principles, one being ahimsa, which Luna spoke about in depth. It reminds us that, every living being has an innate desire to be safe, free from suffering, and to live in accordance to one's own nature. And it just asks us to meet the world with kindness, and not only in our actions, but in our thoughts and our words as well. And then satya, which means truthfulness, and that just invites us to see clearly, to sometimes it asks us to look at things or to think about things that are uncomfortable, but and it asks us to live a little bit closer in alignment with our values, with our and so whatever our individual choices may be, yoga just kind of encourages us to approach truth with compassion rather than judgment. So together they ask a simple question. So today it's like, how can I live in a way that creates a little less suffering and a little more kindness? So today's practice is both about calming the mind, which is what, when you think of yoga, it's Yog Chitta Vritta Nirodha, which is yoga means calmness or stillness of the fluctuating mind. But also it's about opening our hearts and to ourselves, to each other, to the countless animals whose lives matter just as much as ours. So today's is focused on very much, or asana practice today is very much focused on heart opening poses, in order to, it strengthens the body, strengthens back muscles, but, allows us to soften the heart, and to invite compassion. So To get yourself started, please just grab a yoga mat. Feel free to grab a blanket as a little prop or blocks, anything that you have. It's nothing too intense, but I'm just gonna switch my camera so you can see the full body as I move through it. Okay.
All right, from here, we're gonna just sit in a comfortable seated position. So legs can be crossed, legs can be out in front of you. Feel free to elevate the hips if you want to sit on a blanket or a jumper. Hands can rest over the tops of the legs, maybe flipping the palms up to face the ceiling. You can bring your forefinger and your thumb to touch, other fingers curling up naturally. Shoulders relaxed away from the ears and closing down your eyes. And just allow yourself to take your attention and your awareness to your breath. So just noticing your breath as it is, your inhale and your exhale. Then maybe closing down your mouth and just letting your breath come in and out through your nose. And gradually making your breath a little bit longer and a little bit deeper. So with your next inhale, sending your breath all the way down, filling your lungs up, feeling your belly rise. Exhaling back out, empty and fully. Another big inhale, fill your lungs up, feel your belly rise. Exhaling back out, empty and fully. Whenever you're ready, you can inhale and open up your eyes. From here, we're going to take our right hands to our left knee, and our other hand is going to inhale and reach up towards the ceiling, and exhale, reaching over towards the right. Arm in line with the ear. You're opening up the chest, opening up the heart towards the ceiling. You can look up towards that top hand or just look out in front of you. See if you can press that left knee a little bit down a little bit more. Big inhale here and a big exhale. On your next inhale, let's come back to center. Reach both arms up this time, taking your left hand to your right knee. Other hand reaches up, and exhale, reaching over towards the side of the room. Pressing that right knee down, arm in line with the ear here. Nice open chest. You can gaze up or you can look straight ahead. Big inhale and a big exhale. On your next inhale, let's reach both arms back up to center, and exhale, just drop them down over your knees. Inhale, we're going to lift the chest, lift the heart up towards the ceiling, gazing up. And then exhale, you're going to round through your spine, tucking your chin under some cat-cow. Inhaling, lifting chin and chest, lifting the chest, lifting the heart. Exhale, round and tuck your chin under. Inhaling, lifting chin and chest, heart lift. And exhale, round through your spine, tuck your chin under. Inhale, let's come back to center. From here, we're going to flip around into a tabletop position. So we're going to bring our knees underneath our hips, our wrists underneath our shoulders, spreading the fingers nice and wide apart. From here, we're going to do a threads and needles. So we're going to lean towards our left hand and we're going to inhale, reach that right hand up towards the ceiling, opening up the chest, open up the heart. And exhale, you're going to thread it under that arm. You're going to bring that shoulder down, maybe placing a blanket or a block underneath the shoulder if you can't bring it down to the mat. And your palm is facing up. Left hand can stay in beside you or it can reach up towards the top of the mat or behind your back, reaching for that top right thigh. Breathing into it. One more big inhale and a big exhale. You can take that left hand back in beside you. Use it to inhale, push yourself back up. Reach that right hand back up, noticing how open the chest feels here, and then bringing the hand back down. We'll do the same on the other side. So leaning right, we're inhale, reaching the left hand up towards the ceiling. And exhale, let's thread it under. You can bring the left shoulder down, the left cheek down. Again, feel free to have that blanket under the shoulder. Palm is facing up. Right hand can stay in beside you, or it can reach up towards the top of the mat or reach behind you for that top left thigh. Breathing into it here, 2 breaths. Big inhale and a big exhale. Another breath here. And then on your inhale, take that right hand back in beside you. Use it to push yourself back up. Inhale, left hand reaches up. And exhale, bringing it down. Lovely. From here, walking the hands slightly ahead of the shoulders. From here, spread the fingers nice and wide apart. We're going to tuck the toes under. Let's take a big inhale. And on your exhale, lift your knees, lift your hips up. From here, just pedal out the legs, bending into the knees, little heels lifting up and down, pushing into your fingertips, forefingers and thumbs. Gazing back between the thighs, and then invite stillness into the pose. You can keep a bend into the knees and just focus on lengthening through that upper body. So sending the heart, the chest back towards the thighs, looking between your legs. Breathing into and holding for 5, 4, maybe stretching the heels down. 3, 2, 1. On your inhale, big bend into the knees, and let's slowly make our way up towards the top of the mat, bringing our feet in between our hands. We'll come to our halfway lift. So hands to shins, nice flat back, gazing down. Exhale right down into our fold. We'll take our ragdoll, toe heel, the feet a little bit wider apart, maybe as wide as the mat. Hands hanging down, good bend into the knees, hands rested towards the ground, or maybe grabbing either elbow. Feel free to sway from side to side if that feels good. Just releasing any tension from the back of the neck, the shoulders, the upper back, the lower back, and all the way down the backs of the legs towards the heels. And then when you're ready, you can drop the hands down towards the mat. We're going to very slowly start coming up to a standing position. So nice and slowly, keep a bend into the knees, round through your back. As you slowly bring your hands up the legs, unraveling the spine, one little vertebrae at a time. Head's going to be the very last thing to come up, and you can roll it out, shake it out. From here, we're just going to come into our sun salutation. We're going to start with our Samasthiti, our mountain pose, hands down by our sides, palms facing in. Relax your shoulders away from your ears, closing down your eyes. Exhale all the air out from your lungs and take a deep inhale through your nose. Fill your lungs up, feel your belly rise. Exhale back out, empty and fully. Another big inhale, fill your lungs up, feel your belly rise. This time out the mouth with a sigh. On your inhale, open up your eyes. Let's take both arms out wide and up to touch. Looking up or looking straight ahead, arms in line with your ears. Exhale, you're going to swan dive down over the legs. Good bit of a bend into the knees so the chest can come towards the thighs. Hands towards the ground or to blocks. Inhale or halfway lift, hands to shins, flat back, gaze down. Exhale, right down into your full forward fold. Inhale, good bend into the knees, push through the heels, take both arms out wide and up to touch. And exhale, taking the hands down to heart center again. Hands down by your side. Inhale, let's reach up, bringing the hands up, looking up or straight ahead. Exhale, the swan dive down over the legs again, hands towards the ground or to blocks, that bit of a bend into the knees. Inhale, our hands to our shins, nice flat back, opening up that chest, gazing down. Exhale, right down into our full forward fold. From here, we're going to bring a good bend into the knees. You're just going to plant your fingertips down towards the mat or to block. Lean towards your right foot and step your left toes all the way back. From here, you're going to tuck the back toes down, or tuck the back toes, or drop the back knee down, sorry, and untuck the back toes into our low lunge. You're going to gaze ahead, lifting the chest, lifting the heart. From here, we're going to bring both hands on top of that front knee. Gazing ahead, lifting the chest. Nice big inhale. Nice big exhale. On your next inhale, reach both arms up. You can look up or you can look straight ahead. One more big breath here. Another big inhale, reach it up. Exhale, bring both hands down, frame that front foot. Let's tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee off the mat. And inhale, step it forward. Halfway lift, hands to shins, nice flat back, open chest, gazing down. Exhale, right down into our fold. Same on the other side. Good bend into the knees. Plant the fingertips. Lean left. Step your right toes all the way back. From here, drop that back knee down and untuck the back toes. Low lunge. Feel free to adjust that leg, stretching it back a little more. Feel free to pad the back knee as well. Nice big inhale. Lifting the chest and an exhale. On your next inhale, let's bring both hands on top of the knees. And then exhale here, one more breath. And then on your next inhale, reach both arms up. You can look up or you can look straight ahead. Open up that chest, arms in line with the ears. Another breath here. On your next inhale, reach it up, and exhale, bring both hands down, frame that front foot. Come up onto the toes of our back foot and inhale, lift that back knee off the mat. Inhale, step your foot forward. Halfway lift, nice flat back, gazing down. Exhale, right down into our fold. Inhale, good bend into the knees, push through the heels, take both arms out wide and up to touch. And exhale, hands down to heart center. Lovely. From here, we're going to come into our warrior one pose. So from the top of our mat, we're going to lean towards our right foot and you're going to step your left foot towards the back of the mat, okay? You can start up onto the toes and then we're going to plant that back foot down at a little bit of an angle, okay? So you're placing the whole foot down, toes slightly face towards the edge of the mat and a good bend into that front knee. Our hips are facing forward. We're going to inhale, reach both arms up towards the ceiling, looking up or straight ahead. Nice big inhale here. And a nice big exhale. Another breath here. Another big inhale, reach it up. And then exhale, bring both hands behind your back and interlink the fingers. Keep your legs as they are. We're going to come into our humble warrior. So inhale, lifting the chest, lifting the heart up. And then exhale, folding that upper body to the inside of that right leg. Allow your head to be nice and heavy. Humble warrior. Big inhale. And a big exhale here. From here, we're going to drop both hands to the inside of that foot, and you're going to walk the hands towards the long edge of the mat. Okay, turning the toes slightly in, heels slightly out, up onto our fingertips. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the heart, and exhale, fold it down, head falling towards the mat. Hold it here for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, come up onto our fingertips again. We're going to lift the right toes, face them towards the top of the mat, walking the hands to frame that front foot. Up onto the toes of our back foot here, lifting the chest. When you're ready, inhale, push through that front foot, reach the arms up, and we're going to open up into our warrior two, our Virabhadrasana B, okay? So the back foot aligned with the back of the mat, good bend into that front knee, looking towards that front hand. Nice big inhale here. And exhale, lowering down. Nice big inhale. And a big exhale. Next, our reverse warrior. Inhale, flip that right palm up towards the ceiling. Drop your back hand down your back leg. Right hand reaches up. Looking up or looking out to the side. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reach that arm up. And then exhale, back to our warrior two. We're going to straighten out that front leg, toe heel that back foot in, just to shorten the stance slightly for a Trikonasana or triangle pose. We're going to inhale, tilt the hips back, tilt your upper body forward, and exhale, bring the back of that right hand down to the inside of that leg, and left hand reaches towards the ceiling, looking up towards that top hand or looking out in front, really lifting up through and opening up the chest here, opening up the heart for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, let's bring it back to center. From here, you can take the hands to the hips, turn the right toes towards the long edge of the mat, and turn the left toes towards the top of the mat or the back of your mat now. Okay, tilt the back foot at a little bit of an angle, and we're going to bring a bend into that left knee for our warrior one on this side. Okay, hips facing towards the back of the mat. We're going to inhale and reach the arms up. You can look up or you can look straight ahead. Sending as much of the body weight into that back leg as the front. Nice big inhale here. Nice big exhale. Another big inhale, reach it up, and exhale, take both hands behind your back, prepping for our humble warrior. Inhale and lift, chin and chest, lifting the heart, and exhale, let's fold it down. Or letting the body fall down, letting the head be nice and loose, hands reaching back behind you, or maybe reaching up towards the ceiling, depending on how the shoulders feel. Hold it here for 3, 2, 1. From here, we're just going to lift ourselves back up, and we're going to inhale and cartwheel the arms open to our warrior 2. Back foot parallel with the back of the mat, looking towards that front hand or left hand. When you're ready, reverse warrior. Inhale, flip that left palm up, drop your back hand down the back leg, looking towards that top hand. Breathing into a big inhale and a big exhale. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale into our warrior 2 again. Let's straighten out that front leg and toe heel that back foot in to slightly shorten our stance for a Trikonasana. When you're ready, inhale, tilt the hips back, tilt the upper body forward, and exhale, bring the back of your left hand down to the inside of the leg, right hand reaching up towards the ceiling. Looking up, opening up that chest here, holding for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, let's come back to center. Taking the hands to the hips, turn the right toes face towards the top of the mat, and we'll step it forward. Lovely. We'll vinyasa down, feet hip width distance. Inhale, reaching up, looking up or straight ahead. Exhale, let's swan dive down over the legs, that bend into the knees. From here, good bend into the knees, plant the hands, step back into our plank, knees up or knees down. When you're ready, we're going to gently lower the body all the way down onto our belly. From here, we're going to come into our Sphinx pose. Nice way to open up the chest, strengthen the back. Okay, elbows slightly ahead of the shoulders, nice, spreading the fingers nice and wide apart. Inhale and lifting your chin and chest, gazing forward. Holding it here, breathing into it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big inhale here and exhale, lower the chest. Let's take both hands in beside the ribs. We'll push ourselves and we'll take a wide-legged child's pose. Big toes to touch, knees as wide as the mat. Send your hips back towards the heels. Reaching the hands, lowering the chest, lower the heart towards the ground, towards your mat, and lowering your forehead. Take a couple of breaths here. On your inhale, let's come back into our tabletop and we'll flip it around onto our back. We're going to lower all the way down. We'll just do one more heart opener here. From here, we're going to walk the heels in towards the hips, both hands rested on either side of the hips, palms facing down. When you're ready, you're going to inhale, push through the heels, lift the hips up towards the ceiling, squeezing the thighs and lifting the chest. It's almost like you're shimmying your shoulders underneath the back. From here, hold for 3, 2, 1, and exhale, gently release the hips down. From here, you're going to stretch the left leg out on the mat. Pull your right knee in towards you. Squeeze it in. And then with the help of the left hand, just move that knee over towards the left. Right hand can stretch out to the side. So you can look towards your right hand or you can look up towards the ceiling. Left hand can stretch out if that feels comfortable. Just take a breath here. And then from here, move your head back to center and roll your hips back to center. We'll do the same on the other side this time. Pulling the left knee in towards us, stretching out the right leg on the mat. And then with the help of the right hand, move that knee towards the right, stretching your left hand out to the side, palm facing down, looking towards that hand or towards the ceiling. Right hand can stretch out if it feels comfortable. Pressing that left shoulder blade down, really opening up the chest, getting into a twist of the upper back, breathing into it. And then gently roll the head back to center and roll the hips back to center. We'll pull both knees in towards your chest. Give them a squeeze, maybe rocking side to side. And then from here, option to come down into Shavasana and take both legs out to the side, both hands out to the side, relaxing the shoulders down, palms facing up, closing down your eyes, fully letting the body relax, allowing your breath to come back to its own natural rhythm. Nice easy inhale and exhale. And then scanning the body from the top of the head to the tips of the toes, releasing any tension you're holding on to. So start by relaxing down your forehead, relax your jaw, your shoulders, your arms. Relax your chest, allowing it to soften, allowing the heart to open up. Relax your hips, maybe giving them a last little wiggle. Relax your upper legs, your lower legs, and finally your feet. Let them hang loose to the side. Just taking a minute to just lie in full stillness and relaxation. Just allow yourself to fully let go. And then start to bring the awareness back to your body. Bring some movement into your fingers and into your toes. And allowing your head to gently sway from side to side. And then maybe taking both arms up overhead, giving yourself a full body stretch from the top of the fingers to the tips of the toes, stretching it all out. And coming back to center, just bring a bend into your left knee, roll over onto your right side. And then with the help of your left hand, push yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Keeping your eyes closed, just bring one hand to your belly and the other hand to your chest. Relaxing the shoulders down. Let's take a big inhale into the lungs, filling the lungs up, feeling the belly rise. Exhaling back out, empty and fully. Another big inhale, fill your lungs up, feel your belly rise. Exhaling back out, empty and fully. Let's take both hands to heart center and rub your palms together, generating some heat, some energy. And then place your hands over your closed eyes. Gently open your eyes behind your palms and let your hands gently release away from you, letting the light back through. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the practice, and may any compassion you cultivated here on the mat just stay with you off the mat in your choices, your relationship, and your actions. And even the smallest act of kindness has the power to change a life. So I appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Serena. That was so beautiful. I'm feeling so relaxed and so grateful to be here. Thank you so much for guiding us through that. How's everyone feeling? So zen. So up next, we have a pre-recording talk by Andrew Knight, as he's traveling at the moment, but he'll be joining us for a live Q&A after the presentation. So for me personally, this topic really resonates because I've been talking to Elena about this. I really want to have a cat in my life, but this is a question that I really have. So question being, should dogs or cats be vegan? So yeah, over to Andrew's talk.
Hi everybody, I'm Andrew Knight. I worked in small animal veterinary practice for nearly a decade, mostly around London, before being recruited to teach at a veterinary school. I'm now a veterinary professor of animal welfare, affiliated with a veterinary school in Australia and 2 other universities, including the University of Winchester in the United Kingdom. And recently I completed a PhD on vegan pet diets. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you some of the recent research going on in this field. People are increasingly considering plant-based lifestyles themselves for all these sorts of reasons. Not only are people more concerned about health and fitness as the decades have passed, but also companion animals are increasingly considered as members of our own families. They're living longer. People are wanting better standards of veterinary care for them and better diets as well. People are increasingly concerned about the environmental impacts of animal farming, which is the biggest cause of deforestation on the planet, one of the largest users of fresh water, and a major cause of greenhouse gas emissions, and I'll talk more about that later. In the food system, we kill more than 93 billion land animals every year, which is more than 10 land animals for every person on the earth, and 1 to 3 trillion fish and marine animals. And of the farmed animals, more than 90% are intensively farmed in conditions of very high stocking density, very crowded, with minimal environmental enrichment or opportunity to exercise many highly motivated natural behaviours. This is chronically stressful to these animals. Many of them often also undergo mutilations such as tail docking, ear cropping, and so on, often without painkillers, and this is acutely painful. There's even a concern about food justice as well, because the consumption of grain is much higher than the global average in wealthy nations, because we feed most of it to farmed animals, intensively farmed animals, and then overconsume meat, milk, and eggs. This means that the price of grain increases worldwide, and the people least able to afford it miss out. This means that the consumption of grain per capita varies from just under 30 kilograms per person per year in the poorest nations to more than 96 kilograms per person per year in the wealthiest nations. Now, we actually produce enough food to feed double the human population of the Earth, but we would need 7 planets if everyone had the grain-rich diets of the wealthiest 20 countries, with most of that grain being consumed in the form of livestock products. So the overconsumption of livestock products in particular also contributes to world hunger. So for all these sorts of reasons, people are increasingly considering plant-based lifestyles. Within the pet food sector, emerging alternatives include vegan diets based on plant-based ingredients. There are many of those available. When I give this talk in person, I have sort of a traveling bunch of samples that I show off and give away as well, but there are many plant-based vegan diets available, mostly from online vendors today. There are also pet foods based upon cultivated meat. The first one of these went on sale in the United Kingdom a couple of years ago. It's since been joined by others. This one is from a Czech biotech company that is looking for a pet food company to partner with. There are a couple more as well. So these are mostly hard to get, but they do exist and they're becoming more available as time goes on. And there is also cellular agriculture. The biggest example of this is the company Callista. This is their production plant in China, and the heart of it is a couple of these long steel cylinders which contain a harmless bacterium, along with which is fed water, air, and various nutritional substrates, and produces protein powder directly, as you can see, which has now been put into pet food and made commercially available as well from a German company, a German pet food company, and this is also available now in the United Kingdom as well. So this is really exciting because this method of production of protein requires the least amount of land and water and inputs. It seems to be even more efficient than growing plants. So hopefully this will have a significant role to play in the future of a sustainable food system. Cultivated meat is available in small quantities, relatively small quantities. This product is available in much larger quantities. Tens of thousands of litres per year of product are being produced from this production plant and turned into pet food and other animal feeds. So this is already commercially available. Of those types of alternatives, the by far the most developed is the vegan pet food sector. The products based upon plant-based ingredients. As you can see from the numbers, this sector is growing really fast. The valuation of it nearly tripled during a recent 14-year period and is expected to more than double again in the coming decade or so. In 2020, I conducted the largest survey so far to see what proportion of pet carers would realistically be willing to choose these diets. I surveyed more than 4,000 pet carers, and with some colleagues, we recently analysed the results and published them in a couple of peer-reviewed scientific articles. The interesting thing was that when we looked at more than 2,600 dog carers, we found that 43% of those currently feeding conventional or raw meat-based diets said that they would realistically be interested in feeding more sustainable alternatives, such as vegan or cultivated meat-based pet foods. And of the cat carers, we had more than 1,300 cat carers, and a surprising 51% of those said that they would be interested in feeding more sustainable alternatives. So that was really good news. These are the largest surveys of their kind. There have been others which have similar results in some respects. There were many characteristics that people wanted the alternatives to provide before they would realistically consider choosing them. But the top 5 in order were these. They wanted to be reassured about pet health outcomes, that the pets would be healthy when fed these diets. The diets would be nutritionally sound and of good quality. They would be adequately palatable so the pets would enjoy eating them, and they would be environmentally sustainable. So my research since then has focused on exploring each of these areas. I'm going to run you through some of the key results. For example, this is our study of health outcomes in more than 2,500 dogs, and this is the largest one of its kind. We had dogs in 3 different groups, fed conventional meat, raw meat, or vegan diets. I was looking to see whether dogs in these groups had differences in indicators of health or illness. Did they need to see the vet more often in the previous year? Did they need to use some kind of medication? Did they need to progress onto a medical diet after initially being on a vegan or one of the meat-based diets? What was the reported assessment of the vet about the health of the dog or cat, or dog in this case? What was the guardian's own opinion about the health of their dog? And what percentage of these dogs was unwell? And if they were unwell, how sick were they? Did they suffer from just one illness, or was it more than one? What was the average number of cases of health disorder per unwell animal? And apart from those 7 general health indicators, I also looked at the prevalence of the 22 most common specific health disorders in all these dogs. When looking at these general indicators of illness across the x-axis, and controlling for differences in the diet groups in age, sex, neutering status, breed size, and exercise level. I found that we found that the dogs fed vegan diets indicated by the green dots often seem to have lower odds than, well, and also I should say sometimes dogs fed raw meat diets indicated by the orange dots often seem to have lower odds than dogs fed conventional meat-based diets indicated by the dashed horizontal line. The next step we did was we looked again at these 7 general indicators of illness in the rows, increased numbers of vet visits, whether the dogs needed to use medication, and so on, and worked out for an average dog, so an average age, sex, neutering status, exercise level, and so on, what was the chance of these indicators of illness if they were fed conventional meat in the first numerical column, vegan diets in the second numerical column, and what was the reduction with the vegan diet in the third numerical column. And the reductions varied from about 14 up to 51% and were pretty substantial in most cases, as you can see. We did the same thing comparing vegan diets with raw meat diets and found also fairly substantial reductions in most categories. The percentage of animals that was unwell was 49% when fed conventional meat, 43% when fed raw meat, and 36% when fed vegan diets. And the chances of suffering from one of the 22 most common health disorders, and I should say that they're listed in this chart here. At the top of the list was gastrointestinal, followed by skin coat problems, other musculoskeletal problems, and so on. The chances of suffering from one of these 22 disorders was highest when they were fed conventional meat for 11 out of 22, that's half of them, was highest when they were fed raw meat for 8 out of 22, and highest when they were fed vegan diets for just 3 of these 22 disorders. Many of these differences were not statistically significant, so they might have just been random sampling variation. But it was clear when looking at all these results overall, the overall trend was quite clear. The healthiest diets were vegan diets, and I always add a but, and the but is that they do need to be well designed to be nutritionally sound. They need to be fully supplemented with all of the essential dietary nutrients that dogs need. I also refer to the fewest hazards. It's well known that raw meat diets have 2 major hazard types. One is nutritional imbalances and deficiencies, so raw meat is very high in protein, but it would be deficient in some minerals and some vitamins, for example. Secondarily, pathogenic hazards. There have been more than 80 studies showing increased pathogenic risks, which are experienced by both the dogs and by people that share households with those dogs. So they're acquiring pathogens also from raw meat during food preparation or from their dogs, unfortunately. So that's a really well-established phenomenon. There have been guidelines about preparation of raw meat that don't seem to have prevented these studies coming out showing increased pathogenic hazards. We published our study of the health outcomes of dogs fed vegan diets compared to the other dietary groups, a series of 2 studies in these leading open access general scientific journals. So they're open access, meaning that the full text is freely available on the internet if anyone wants to look at them. This attracted huge attention, maybe because this was the first time that a large-scale study like this had been published, including a feature article here in New Scientist and more than 400 press stories around the world. When it appeared on Australia's Channel 9 news website, there were more than 1,000 comments in the first 24 hours indicating the interest in this subject. So that was all great, but I actually don't think it's as exciting as this study. This is by Dr. Sarah Dodd, so she is a veterinary nutritional specialist. Like me, she has also done a PhD in vegan pet diets. And this is her research team at Guelph Veterinary School, which is one of the leading veterinary schools in Canada. So they published this study in Research in Veterinary Science. It was a study looking at nearly 1,200 dogs, including 357 fed solely vegan diets for about 3 years on average, which is a pretty long time for dogs. The study starts off normally enough, as many of these studies do. The vegan dogs are more likely to be in very good health, less likely to suffer from gastrointestinal and liver disorders. These are common findings. Also, less likely to suffer from eye disorders. I'm not sure why that occurred. But where it gets really exciting is the next page here. They looked at 1,201 previously owned dogs and asked people how old they were when they passed away. The dogs fed plant-based or vegan diets, as indicated by the green curve on the right, seem to be living longer than the dogs fed meat-based or mixed diets, indicated by the other two curves. They found a similar result when they looked at the cats, but it wasn't statistically significant, meaning it could have just been random variation in the samples that were studied. For this dog curve, however, this was a statistically significant result, meaning that almost certainly this was not due to random sampling variation, but reflected a true biological difference. The difference was quite large. The vegans were living 1.5 years longer on average than the meat-based dogs. We have a rule of thumb in veterinary medicine whereby we think of 1 year of a dog's life as being equivalent to perhaps 7 years of a human's life, although of course it varies depending upon the breed size of the dog and other factors. On average, though, that would mean that 1.5 years is equivalent to just over an extra decade of life. So that's a really big deal. Imagine what it would mean to any of us if we could have an extra decade of life at the end of our lives. And on top of that, these dogs also seem to be having better quality of life, because across all the studies, and there are quite a lot of them now that have looked at health outcomes of dogs fed vegan diets, there are no significant differences in most health outcomes, but there do seem to be persistent benefits in two areas associated with vegan diets. One seems to be a reduction in conditions that are associated with the consumption of dietary allergens, and about 80% of all allergens come from animal-based ingredients. So when you cut those out, you see a reduction in itchy skin, itchy ear canals, and gastrointestinal problems. And all of these are really common actually in dogs and cause a lot of discomfort for many dogs. The second issue is that nearly half of all dogs today are overweight or obese. Dogs fed vegan diets seem to have a reduction in body weight. They seem to slim down and achieve more normal body weight, with sometimes with associated improvements in mobility and reduction in musculoskeletal problems. So we potentially have dogs here that are living the equivalent of more than a decade of human life, are more mobile and active, suffering from less itchy skin, ear canals, and so on, and are able to enjoy their lives much more. And I think this is incredibly exciting news for dogs and for their people. There are actually 12 studies. Two of them are veterinary master's theses, and the rest are peer-reviewed scientific studies in scientific journals. And also one systematic review, which is another study that brings in an even wider set of evidence that have examined health outcomes of dogs maintained on vegan or vegetarian diets. And if you want to see them, you can click on sustainablepetfood.info under health. You will get a short summary of each of these studies, linking through to the full text study. They're all freely available online. Out of those, 11 out of 12 show equivalent or superior health outcomes when these diets are used. And the one that doesn't is the oldest, smallest study with the least realistic study conditions. So it's clear that the weight of evidence overwhelmingly supports the use of vegan diets in dogs. And I always add a but, and the but is that the diets do need to be well manufactured to be nutritionally sound. We did a similar study looking at more than 1,300 cats. So this was the largest study of its kind, fed just two dietary types, this time either meat-based or vegan diets. We looked at the same as 7 general indicators of illness across the x-axis, increased numbers of veterinary visits, medication usage, and so on. Cats fed vegan diets, indicated by the blue dots, consistently had lower odds of these indicators of illness than cats fed meat-based diets, after we controlled for differences in age, sex, neutering status. And we're also interested in whether some of the vegan cats might have been going outdoors and hunting. We controlled for location as well. We again looked at these 7 indicators of illness and worked out for average cats, average age, sex, neutering status, and location. what was the chance of these indicators of illness if they were fed meat in the first numerical column, vegan diets in the second column, and what was the reduction with vegan diets? And it varied from about 4% up to 55% and was pretty substantial in most categories. The percentage of cats that was unwell, 42% fed meat-based diets, 37% fed vegan diets, and the 22 most common health disorders in cats were slightly different from those in dogs. Top of the list for cats was dental and oral problems, followed by body weight and gastrointestinal and so on. So the chances of suffering from one of these disorders was highest when cats were fed meat-based diets for 2/3 of them, and highest when cats were fed vegan diets for 1/3 of them. Almost none of these differences were statistically significant, but overall there was a pretty strong trend. It seemed clear that once again the healthiest cats were those fed vegan diets, and I do need to add that the but is that the diets do need to be fully supplemented to make sure they are nutritionally sound, well manufactured to make sure they're nutritionally sound. We published this study as well, also in PLOS One, that leading open access general scientific journal. And in the field of cats, there are now 3 studies, plus that one systematic review that I mentioned, that have examined health outcomes on cats maintained on vegan and vegetarian diets. And once again, if you click on sustainablepetfood.info under health, you get a short summary of each of the studies, and you're able to link through to the full text of it freely available online if you want to have a closer look. All 3 support the use of these diets. I want to emphasize that there are 0 studies showing worse health outcomes for cats fed vegan diets. So it's clear that the weight of evidence does support the use of vegan diets in cats, provided that, of course, the diets are well manufactured to be nutritionally sound, with all necessary nutrients included. So this body of evidence, I think, takes care of the first concern that our surveyed pet carers said they have. There are other studies addressing all of these other areas. There are studies that have looked at whether these diets are likely to be nutritionally sound and of good quality. And in general, yes, they are. Essentially, both meat-based and vegan diets can be formulated to be nutritionally sound or unsound, depending on whether they are fully supplemented with all the necessary dietary nutrients that dogs and cats need, and depending on whether the manufacturing process is good. There have been studies showing that diets in both groups have sometimes been nutritionally unsound. In fact, there are more studies showing that meat-based diets have been unsound than vegan diets have been unsound. However, it's perfectly possible to design either type to be nutritionally sound, and studies so far show that vegan diets are slightly more likely to be of good quality when they're produced by good manufacturers, probably because they're taking extra care with nutritional supplementation. There are also studies that have looked at behavioral indicators of how much dogs and cats enjoy their diets, i.e. palatability. Of course, dogs and cats are like people. They've got personalities and preferences. But when you take averages of thousands, as we have done in these studies, and looked at every known behavioral indicator of how much they're liking or disliking their food, whether they jump up, bark, wolf down their food, lick their lips, sniff, twitch their ears, all the signs that are known, we found that on average, there don't seem to be differences overall in how much they appear to enjoy vegan diets and meat-based diets. And it kind of makes sense. If a company produces a diet that's not palatable, a vegan diet, for example, they will rapidly go out of business. Dogs and cats are not polite, and they don't consume food because they're trying to keep people happy. They genuinely need to enjoy their food, or the product won't succeed. I'm going to move straight on now to the final section on environmental sustainability, which I think is the most exciting of the lot. We know that the food system overall produces about 1/3 of all greenhouse gas emissions, and the livestock sector, animal farming, produces about 20% of all greenhouse gas emissions. We have kind of had a blind spot globally and within the animal protection movement, assuming that we only needed to worry about human diets. In 2017, Ocken at the University of California, Berkeley produced a study showing that up to 5% of all greenhouse gas emissions might actually be due to pet food rather than human food. In one of my most recent studies, though, I set out to work out what would happen if the world's dogs and cats transitioned from meat-based diets onto nutritionally sound vegan diets. I wanted to try to calculate how many food animals would no longer need to be slaughtered each year, what were the environmental impacts in terms of land, water, fossil fuels, pesticides and fertilizers and greenhouse gases, and with all the food energy savings when we were not losing so much food energy by converting plant-based energy into animal products. How many additional people could we feed if we fed all that plant-based food energy to people directly? It wasn't possible to do a study like this until 2020 when a detailed report became available giving us information about the ingredients that were used in pet food on a large scale. And this covered 2/3 of the US pet food market, which was the biggest one in the world. So I was able to make use of that. I started by calculating the dietary energy needs for the dog, cat, and human population in the United States in the same year. What proportion of those energy needs were supplied by animal-based ingredients, and worked out what the consumption of animals was by each of those groups in the United States. And then what the environmental impacts of all those ingredients were and what they would have been if the same dietary energy had been provided by plant-based ingredients instead. I tried to then extrapolate the results to the whole world. I couldn't do so for 2020 because there weren't reliable numbers for dog and cat populations in that year, but there were in 2018, so the global results relate to 2018. I worked out that in 2018, there were about 78 billion land animals killed in the food system worldwide, most of them poultry, but with various other groups there that you can see. Just skipping down to the bottom part of this graphic first, of that 78 billion, 71 billion or 91% were consumed by people, 6 billion consumed by dogs, and about 1 billion consumed by cats. That's about 9% of the global average. In the United States and probably also the United Kingdom, Australia, and other relatively high income countries, pet ownership is higher than the global average. So dogs and cats have a higher than average share. And in the United States, it was 20% of consumption of farmed animals was by dogs and cats and 80% was by people. If the world's dogs in the first column, cats in the second column, and humans in the third column were transitioned to nutritionally sound vegan diets, there would be massive environmental benefits. If the dogs were transitioned, it would free up more greenhouse gases than produced by the entire United Kingdom. In fact, 1.5 times as many greenhouse gases. There would be massive land savings. For example, if humans transitioned, it would free up land bigger than Russia, the world's largest country, combined with India, which could become available for rewilding, carbon capture, and biodiversity increase. There'd be massive savings of fresh water, and with the food energy savings, we could feed millions of additional people. If the world's pet cats were transitioned, it would free up enough food energy to feed 69.7 million additional people, which is larger than the population of the UK. If the dogs were transitioned, we could feed 449 million additional people, or a population slightly bigger than the entire European Union. And if the humans were transitioned, we could feed 5.3 billion additional people, which is more than every nation or region on Earth. In fact, it's 2/3 of the world's current population. Some studies indicate that we could feed the entire population of the Earth again. So actually my results, even though they show enormous environmental benefits, are actually pretty conservative. The true benefits could be, in fact, probably are bigger even than these numbers. So this study was published also in PLOS One. And in my most recent study, I took that 78 billion land animal figure, 78 billion land animals killed in the food system in 2018. And I worked out what that meant for an average human and an average dog per year and over their lifetime. It turned out that on average globally, a human consumes about 9 farmed land animals a year and a dog consumes about 13. That's about a 40% difference. So that's really substantial. And that's because more of the dietary energy consumed by dogs come from animal-based ingredients than they do for people. So if you want to save farmed animals and the environment, it does more good to transition an average dog than an average person onto a plant-based diet. And it's quite a lot more good. It's about a 40% difference. Using the surveys of consumer acceptance of these vegan diets, at least 150 million dogs or cats worldwide could potentially be transitioned onto vegan diets. However, this assumed only one dog or cat per household, and many households have more than one, so the true figures are probably several times greater than this. If you're interested in having a closer look at that study, you can scan the QR code here. I recently published in another leading open access general scientific journal. So this group of studies that I've just quickly run through really satisfies the top concerns that surveyed pet carers said that they have. At the start, I showed that the valuation of the vegan pet food sector is increasing very fast. It's worth bearing in mind, though, that 99% of pet carers are unaware that these diets exist and of the evidence supporting their use that I've just run you through. So I think that when they do become aware, then this curve is going to go up even more quickly, and this sector has a very bright future. I'm grateful to the many co-authors of my scientific studies, many of who are statisticians, to my funding sources, including Food System Research Fund, Representing Animals, ProVeg International, and a couple of pet food companies. However, it's important to say that none of these funding sources had anything to do with anything that might have altered results in any way. I also don't know more than 4,000 pet carers, and to reach that many pet carers to help me complete the largest surveys that have been done so far, I relied upon a small army of volunteers and assistants, and I'm grateful to them as well. If you'd like to have a closer look at any of these studies, you can find them under sustainablepetfood.info. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Andrew. That pre-recording, I know we've got Andrew who's joined us now in our fundraiser, so I'll hand this over to you now, Andrew.
Great, thank you very much. And there is a question in the chat column about the risk of heart disease. Diets that are deficient in taurine, it's an essential amino acid for cats but not for dogs, will cause heart disease, along with visual losses, along with birth defects, bleeding disorders, and other problems. Meat-based cat food has naturally occurring taurine included within it. It was found in the 1960s, I think, that cats consuming meat-based cat food were suffering from taurine deficiency. This was investigated, and it was found that the high temperatures and pressures used within modern pet food processing were actually damaging the taurine. In fact, they damage and degrade fragile nutrients in general. That's some amino acids and some vitamins, not so much the robust nutrients like minerals. So once this problem was identified, it was solved by supplementing the meat-based cat food, which had been damaged by processing, with synthetic nutrients after processing was finished. So synthetic taurine was added back in and the problem disappeared. Vegan pet diets that are produced by modern pet food companies are also supplemented with synthetic taurine and the other necessary nutrients that they need. So now that this is being done, the risks of heart disease in cats fed meat-based diets has returned to normal, and there is no evidence of any increased risk for cats fed vegan diets of suffering from heart disease either. There have now been 3 large-scale studies looking at health outcomes of cats fed vegan diets in recent years, and none of them has showed any significant increase in risk for cats fed vegan diets. And that would be because the diets are generally supplemented with synthetic taurine.
I have a follow-up question for that before we go to another one, because I recently learned, I don't remember if I read it, if I was told, I just don't want to verify that also if you do buy vegan cat food, the wet food, a lot of it says it can be frozen, but somebody recently told me that freezing also destroys the taurine. Is that true?
That's a good question. It's possible. I think you would need to contact the manufacturer. Generally speaking, things like freezing and heat and pressure could damage fragile nutrients. Freezing tends to burst cell walls that would occur within meat and would be likely to damage those products more, I think, than products where there are no cell walls. Beyond that, I don't have information. The
Okay,
concern has
best to
generally
check
been about,
with the
yeah,
company.
yeah.
Everybody can unmute themselves now. So if there are any other questions, just unmute yourself and pop it out.
Okay, well, whilst there's a pause, I like to ask you. Yeah, your talk was so informative that I almost don't have any questions. But this, on a personal level, as you've been, this may not be something you can answer, but as you've been involved in all of this stuff, do you know anything about like the progress of availability of vegan animal food? Because obviously a lot of the stuff you can't get in shops. So if someone was to say transition their animal into vegan pet food, but then they're running out, and then they'll have to order it online. Will they have time for that? All those kinds of things, making it more convenient. Do you see that that's a possibility? Do you feel like that's happening, or again, you may not know.
Yeah. So most of the products available are available from online stores. In terms of availability in shops, I wouldn't expect there would be very much for vegan cat diets. You might find it in some places. It certainly does exist. It's just going to be a lot less available than vegan diets probably for dogs. Generally, most people get these from online stores, I think.
Yeah, so it's just about being on top of that, I suppose. The other thing I was going to ask was, so I'd like to get a cat. I'd like to be able to do that, and I'd like to have an outdoor cat. I've always had outdoor cats. So the other worry is that they go out, because cats, they go to other people's houses, they get fed by other people, and I guess the fear for me is eating food that I don't feel like is good for them if they're eating healthier food, but also they may come home and go, what is this? I don't want this. I want the real stuff. Is this? Yeah, I mean, that's just a worry. I guess there's not really an answer for that, but I guess that's maybe a resistance for some people as well, of worrying about the transition period for animals.
I think provided the majority of the diet is nutritionally sound, then the cat is normally going to be fine. If a minority is not sound, if it's treats and snacks and other things that they scavenge, any cats going outside bring up the whole separate issue of hunting of wildlife by cats. There are things that people can do to try to minimize risks. It's both risks to the wildlife, but also to the cats themselves, because they can sustain injuries if they're hunting. They can pick up parasites from animals that they would kill and consume. So things like keeping them indoors at night, the main hunting and roaming and fighting time. Things like collars with a couple of little bells that will jingle if the cat tries to stalk animals, but have also an elasticized part within the collar so that they, if they jump and get it hung up on a branch, then it will still be able to slip off rather than restricting their breathing. So those are things that are generally recommended. Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really helpful. I guess it's just really also just about changing culture, because there's so many people who even are veggie or vegan. They're like, I'm not going to put my cat or my dog through that because I don't believe in it. So I think it's just about people becoming more aware of the science. Obviously what you've provided there is really insightful, and obviously we'll have this available on YouTube afterwards, and we'll spread the word about it, because I think that is half the battle, is people believing that they're doing the right thing for their animals because of that cultural understanding that they need this and that, but they have this and that. It's just maintaining that. So thank you so much for all of that. That was really helpful. Has anyone else got any questions?
No questions, then I would add just a final comment, because adding on to what you asked about cats being fed by others, I've been doing the opposite. I mean, I'm not feeding other cats, I don't do that, but I've been, I have like 2 or 3 pieces of my vegan kibble with me, and I will just see if they're interested in it. And I can say so far also, I've been handing out little test pouches to people I know to try with their cats. And so far, there's been 100% acceptance rate. So
Fantastic.
That's my little
It's very
area.
much like human eating vegan food, right? You're just trying it out and just showing people it's really good, it's really healthy, it's actually affordable. This is where you get it from. This is actually vegan food, and people go, oh, okay. So it's just connecting the same dots, right? So yeah, well, thanks for the insight. That's awesome. Yeah, Andrew, did you want to say anything else before we move on to our next offering?
Just, I think you're right about, many people believe X, in this case that they're obligate carnivores and so on. There's sort of mindless belief and there's mindful belief. There's actually being willing to open one's mind and to learn as knowledge changes over time and as diets change over time. So for the mindless belief people, you can't do anything about. But for those who are willing to listen and consider, I think it's really helpful to have your YouTube channel and to make this available. And I'm very grateful for any efforts that can be made to try to raise awareness about this important issue, because the lives of so many animals are impacted by it, not to mention the health of the cats and dogs themselves.
Absolutely. So yeah, thank you for being part of this. It really, really means a lot, and your talk was amazing. And yeah, we'll put any links in our afters and our chat there about any links to link up with your work as well. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
So next we have who's up for some music? I'm up for some music. So it's time for animal rights songs, performance and community music by the Vegan Queen V. So over to you.
Great. Thank you. I sort of scrambled it all together. I'm at a really gorgeous vegan gathering at an animal sanctuary in Oxfordshire. So I wasn't sure if signal would be okay and all the things, but hopefully we're okay. And if my dogs kick off because somebody walks past, I apologise in advance. They do like to express themselves vocally from time to time. And yeah, so I am at a festival, just so everyone's aware, but it's all good vibes here. It's so beautiful. And being here amongst the rescue animals, it's just, yeah, it's perfect. So thanks so much for having me. My name is Vegan Queen V. I am an animal rights singer-songwriter. And I'm going to perform for you some of my songs today. This first one is called Beautiful, Powerful, Free. And it's from my first album, Freedom Warrior. And it's dedicated to all the gorgeous humans out there who are fighting for the animals and going out into the world, the crazy world, and then talking about what's going on with the animals and doing what they can in their own way to help. So this one's going out to you guys. Thank you.
Vibrations high, you'll be flying so high in the sky. Just let that soul shine bright. You are beautiful and you are powerful. You are free. You are
Don't you ever forget it. Thank you. Thank you. So the next song I'm going to play for you guys is called Only One Life, and that is another song from my first album, Freedom Warrior, which I put together in 2021, 2022. But I've been writing the songs ever since I went vegan 10 years ago. I've been a songwriter for most of my life. And when I went vegan, the animal rights songs just poured out of me because I'd been vegetarian since I was 8, not realizing that wasn't so great for the animals. And when I did find out when I was 10 years ago, I was 29 years old, and it was just such a shock for me that I think I had to write these songs because I was just in disbelief at what I was seeing, but also, the trauma that came with it from realizing that I'd been participating in the cruelty and the evil that is the dairy industry and the egg industry. So, this song was one of the first animal rights songs I wrote. It's called Only One Life.
If there's only
Thank you, guys. Thank you. No. Ridiculous dogs. We all know how ridiculous dogs are, but wow, what a blessing we get to live our lives with them. It's a crazy journey. I've got 2 rescue dogs, Zala and Simba, and we live together in my van, well, our van. It's a ridiculous life, but I love it. But it's always navigating. As a lot of rescue animals are, they're reactive in certain situations. So it is what it is, and they're perfect. So let's do a couple more songs. So my voice is really tired, and I've got to sing a set tomorrow here. So I'll do 2 more for you. This next one is called Mother Nature's Conversations, and it is about our connection with this beautiful place that we live, our connection with nature, our connection with the animals. A connection that has just been, we've lost it, and I think as vegans we're starting to bring it back, to find it again. But it's also the connection with ourselves, and loving ourselves again. We're kind of taught in society that's selfish, and it's egotistical, but it's so important that we love ourselves, because then if our cup is full, we can give to everyone else, including the animals and everyone. Alright, Mother Nature's Conversations. This is from my most recent album called In Dog We Trust. Who the hell am I Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, everyone, and thank you for your patience with my tech. So just before I got on the laptop, my phone overheated, so I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even get onto my laptop to hotspot from my phone. Anyway, it all worked out. It's all great. It's all perfect. I hope the rest of the day goes really, really beautifully. Thank you so much for having me. If you want to hear any more of my music, it's Vegan Queen V everywhere. And I'm gigging all around the UK over the summer. I also have an animal rights choir, and that's pretty special. We're really like full powering it now. We're opening for Moby at Vegan Camp Out, which is crazy. And anyone is welcome to join us. And yeah, we're online and in person. So yeah, animal rights choir. I'm gonna leave you with this one. It's called The Power, because there's power in the people, baby. We just gotta remind ourselves. We gotta find that power inside. You can do this at home. Here we go. Welcome to the carnival. You are welcome, one and all. Just come as you please. You are free to just be you and me. Welcome to this paradise. Relax, you're feeling oh so nice. We lead with compassion. It's our passion to be kind to all guys. Whoa. We are the vibe, we're the tribe, we're the people. We bring the love, bring the light. The power lies in you. The power lies in you. So what you gonna do with this power? You can choose. Now you know the truth. Now you know. Close your eyes and breathe it in. This precious power that you hold within. When you move with peace, you will see what it's like to be free. Truly, we are the vibe, we're the tribe, we're the people. We bring the love, bring the light. The power lies in you. Power lies in you. So what you gonna do with this power? You can choose. Now you know the truth. Now you know. Recognize the light in you. So let it shine through. Recognize the light in you. So let it shine through. Yeah, I recognize the light in you. Let it shine through. I recognize the light in you. So let it shine through. Yeah, baby. All right, let's take this home. The power lies in you. The power lies in you. What you gonna do with this power? You Thank you, everyone. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
That was amazing. That was incredible. I mean, I had goosebumps so often, like so beautiful. That voice as well, so stunning and so stunning. Thank you for being here and sharing that moment with us. It was really empowering. I certainly feel like my bones are charged with love and foot forward for more peace, you know? So thank you for that. Really, really love that. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll put all your links and everything in the chat and after this event so that people can follow you and support your work as well. Yeah, feel free to stay, but I'm guessing if you're at a festival, you probably want to go and do festival stuff. What festival are you at? I think you're muted. Yeah.
It's one called Rooted Festival in Wallington in Oxfordshire. It's a new one. It's the first one, but it is so gorgeous. I don't know if any of you have heard of Cordia Events, but they do vegan markets all around the country, and this is their first festival, Olivia and Henry. So it's on this gorgeous animal sanctuary, and I've met the owners, and you know, and I mean, I guess owners of animal sanctuaries are always going to be beautiful, but I can just tell them just like so gorgeous, really beautiful, and the land is gorgeous, great vibes, you know. And I don't know if everyone here is vegan, but that's the whole thing, really, you know, coming to a vegan event, seeing the animals and how they are, like they are so different when they're in a place where they can be peaceful and when they can just live, you know, you can really, of course you can see the difference. So I hope that for anybody who's not vegan will come to a place like this, enjoy the vibes, enjoy the food, see the animals and just have the best time. And then it's such good activism. And obviously it's great for vegans as well to come and celebrate together. You know, you see all your friends and it's just a wild time. So yeah, but I'm really grateful that the connection was strong enough that I could join in with you guys as well, because yeah, I like just joining everyone and whatever I can be a part of. I'm so grateful. So yeah, thank you. But I'll nip off now. Time for the next thing. But I hope you enjoy the rest of it. Yeah.
Oh, that was amazing. That was amazing. Everyone enjoy that. I literally had goosebumps the whole time. I was just like, whoa, this is so beautiful. That voice. What powerful words. Yes, so Randal, you were happy to listen, so that's awesome. So welcoming.
That was cool.
It was a beautiful.
I'm jealous. I want to be at that festival. That sounds way more fun than where I'm at.
Yeah, it looks amazing. Well, we'll put the information about that festival in our notes as well, so people can know about that for the future too. So yeah, we're moving on now to your talk. And why can't I find my thingy? Yeah, so reflections on animal advocacy. So over to you. Let's hand this over to you now.
So I suppose I'll just start talking. Well, first I wanna give a big shout out to Nia at Heartstone. It takes a lot to stand up for anybody, to stand up for animals who are not considered to be people. They don't consider to have the rights or the emotions of people. Is probably the hardest type of sacrifice that you're likely to make, because the entire society is against you. I haven't always been vegan. Quite the opposite. I think I was one of those idiots you probably have all had that said, where'd you get your protein? You look ill. You need some bacon. Unfortunately, I was probably that guy. I became vegan 12 years ago, and I haven't cheated once. There may have been 1 or 2 times that someone has poisoned me, but that's without my knowledge and without my consent. But the reality of it is, when you are born, as we all are, at least to some degree, in privilege, we are Westerners. We have an abundance of food. Most of us have clean water. We are privileged, and I'm very privileged because I was born, I had the genetic lottery. I won the lottery because I inherited a historical estate with all this stuff. And with that came all the problems of all of that. And there are quite a few. I won't get into that. But one thinks a lot about history and the reasons we've done the things we've done over time. Now, people will always say, well, we had to do them. Okay, we had to do them then. We don't have to do them now. That is the benefit about progress is, if you think about it, right? We all pretty much agree we're vegan here. So what is the biggest thing about veganism that makes sense? Remove the ethics for the moment out of it. It's biology. I mean, I haven't got claws. My dog has claws. Cats have claws. So I can't really tear anything. In fact, even a banana can sometimes be difficult at times if you get the unripe ones. We're not all as lucky as Freely the banana girl to live on a tropical rainforest and get bananas on tap. I have to go to Lidl, and sometimes even the chemicals don't make those things open very easily. So I'm sitting there. I got no claws. I got no teeth. In fact, whenever anyone used to ask me, how did I like my steak? I would say, oh, mushrooms, garlic, onions. So plants. Oh, okay. So basically, is it really the meat that I liked so much, or was it the seasoning? Ever see those people put loads of ketchup on everything? Yeah, that's it. So when we start to think about that, we have no reason to eat animals. One could make the argument, oh, but we had to survive. Yeah, we destroyed ourselves and we became the genetic defect on this planet when we did what? We created fire. Because fire was a moment where we were the only species to be able to do it. And as a result, we were able to hack our programming. We suddenly were no longer chewing vegetables for long periods of time. We were no longer doing the gathering thing. And we became able to hunt, have a lot of calories in a very short supply, in a very short amount, involved cooking. It means no longer did we spend our time being with nature, we became about hunting nature. And the old concept of you are what you eat. Now think about that. People used to say to me, oh, if you eat tofu, you're going to become one of them soy boys, right? You're going to be all womanly and all this kind of stuff. Now, phytoestrogens from plants have been proven to have no effect on your hormone levels, but animal hormones, very similar to human hormones. So over time, eating all this horrible food, all this pain, all this misery, all those hormones will probably change the way you think. Now, times that over hundreds of years, we become mistrusting, we become aggressive, we begin to think of things as a commodity. Now, you are looking at the beneficiary of this system, but just because this system exists today, and just because I am a beneficiary, I'm not so blind to see that there is no future in this system. Because ultimately, nature is going to survive whether we nuke this place or not. We can have plastic everywhere, and you know what? We won't survive, but nature will. Nature will just evolve, and something else will come. The big question is, do we want to be thrown out of the party? So with that in mind, it's not even about protection of animals. It is about protection of even yourself if you want to keep it selfish. But the reality of it is, our entire society is built on religious concepts. And what is the first thing that the Bible, the Quran, all of those say? You have to respect your fellow man. And I would say that has been mistranslated. You have to respect your fellow being. Because if you do believe in a great deity, that great deity has also given life to all the other members of this planet. So when people say to me, and religious people, they say, oh, we believe in God, we're God-fearing people. But then in that case, you're going to hell because you're not respecting page 1 about how to be a decent human, which means we must give and treat others the way we wish to be treated. And that includes pigs, horses, and everything else in between. The problem with our commodity system is we have done it for hundreds of years and we always have the same results. I was with a vegan lady yesterday and she was so sad because she said, no, we just keep doing it. And I said, because we've never done anything different. The best rebellion is to go vegan because it's not even a rebellion. You are going back to the way, or to the closest way nature had intended. We will never be exactly where we were supposed to be. Too much has gone on. But we have learned and we have had benefits with these decisions, with these problems. We now have technology, we have understanding, which means we have the knowledge to make better decisions. So the irony is all the destruction that we have laid waste on this planet and onto all the creatures on the planet could be a major turning point for us to get back where we should be. We have to almost make the mistakes to learn from the mistakes. And that's one of the main principles that I live by. Because vegan rewilding, which is one of the things that I'm known for, is not about trying to control. It's not about trying to force. It is about nature expressing itself. The happiest people on the planet have the freedom to express themselves. Unhappy people do not find a way to express themselves. And if you're unhappy, guess what? You'll be destructive to yourself and to others. So perhaps, in reality, and I can say this for myself, veganism gave me an opportunity to express myself in a very different way. And I began to realize that I could go about my day knowing that I am doing a minimalist amount of harm. I won't say perfect, but a minimalist amount of harm. And I'm doing everything in my power to do better than the previous generations. And that aspiration to do better drives us. Because the one wonderful thing about humanity is its ability to achieve, to have a pursuit. We've been to the moon, unless you believe in flat Earth, in which case I have nothing to say to you. But we've been able to achieve so many things. Now, if we really want to create a utopia meaning a different society in which we live today, how do we do that? Well, the first thing is we must break the cycle of what we have done for hundreds of years. The most difficult thing in the world is to understand and accept that your entire lifestyle, your entire history, all your relatives have been wrong. You accept that, you're already beyond most people. It's only when we accept that perhaps our entire civilization was based on a lie can we suddenly build something new out of what we have. And that's what I advocate. The reality of it is we create things here by showing what nature is able to do when it is unharmed, when we accept nature and all its members as equals. When you start to remove the value system of one thing worth more than the other, my oak tree, not as good as my bush, my cat, not worth as much as my pony. No, I don't have a pony, but you know what I'm saying. Suddenly, when we remove that benchmark of what we value, we start to see the bigger picture. We start to see nature, and we start to see where things come from. We see our own behaviors. We see our own destructiveness. We see how the economy keeps collapsing. We see all the holes in the world. It's an amazing thing because suddenly, like a veil disappears and you start to see patterns. And you know what? Civilization, the economy, nature, they're actually exactly the same thing. They do the same stuff. The patterns that you see in nature are the same patterns that you see in the economy, that we see in society. Why do we keep making the same mistakes? We eat the wrong food. We destroy our mistakes. Every 50, 60 years, there's a dictator that comes along. We put them into power. Then we knock them down. And then the first thing we do is destroy all the statues. We remove our mistakes. And then we forget. What we advocate here, and one thing that we advocate in our concept, is to wear the mistakes so we never forget the mistakes. And by that kind of mindset, we begin to change. When I started veganism for myself, this was a very hard concept to accept. Everybody in my family was wrong. All the things that I believed in were wrong. That was soul destroying. And then it was refreshing because I thought to myself, now I have the opportunity to build something new, something better. I can walk the very line that all those religious people had always been advocating that I never really believed in. I can actually walk a higher level. A higher level of efficacy is the best and closest way to get to a utopia. You want a utopia. We dream of this thing called heaven. We don't even consider that heaven is what you create. Because if we create and we put out energy and emotions and we work, you have to make yourself happy. There's no magic pill. There's nobody who's going to tell you how to be happy. You have to make yourself happy. And if you make yourself happy by expressing yourself and allowing others to express themselves, it's very important. Give and take. When we begin to look at other people, we begin to acknowledge and understand where people come from. Suddenly we begin to understand ourselves. But we will never do that in this echo chamber, because this whole American dream, we are the rock stars of our own world, we are the lead actor in our films, that's bullshit. That keeps you a slave, because you are never able to see beyond the cage. It's only when we actually reject all the things, when you accept that everything you have done is wrong, you are now free, because now you are aware. Now you are free to do something different. We will never be free if we cannot never accept that we were wrong. Acceptance is the number one thing. I think they even say that to drug addicts. You have to accept that you are flawed, and then you can grow. And that's what veganism is. Veganism is the first step into going back to where we were supposed to be. We are beginning to go back on piste. The animals that we look after, we have a responsibility for those animals. We are the biggest bruiser in the park. Now, we could be a monster, or we could be a defender. Now, me personally, I like defending. I look in the eyes of a pig. I don't want to eat it. I want it to be happy. I want it to have all the wonderful things and experiences that I have in pig world, you know? And that's the thing. We have to want. And where there is desire, there is ambition. And where there is ambition, there is drive. And where there is drive comes success. When I became vegan, veganism was still somewhat a fringe idea. And then suddenly I began to see food in the supermarket. I began to see people beginning to question, younger people, because I'm old. And I look around these young kids who are 20, and they haven't really gone through the journey that I had to go through to get to where I am. They're already there. Secretly, I'm a little bit irritated because I'm like, how did you guys get there so fast? You didn't even live yet. But when people say that we are doomed, I say, you're just not looking in the right place. And that's the thing. The more light shines, the more the truth floats to the surface. Animal advocacy, veganism, environmentalism is the beginning of the evolution of man and woman and other. It is the first response for us to make the changes. Change is a terrifying thing. But when we want something, when there is desire, it becomes the most empowering thing. And suddenly when we start to change, it becomes exciting. It's like falling in love. You want to change. You want to see these things. You just have to see it. And that's what it became like for me. And I started this project and I said, I will never compromise. Compromise once, you'll compromise every day. So we've been a vegan rewilding project. People telling me all the time, can't do this, must manage that. You must control nature. That's a lot like having a concept of understanding of nature is a lot like an ant understanding a shopping center. It might understand the dimensions, but it couldn't possibly understand what's going on. And for us to have the arrogance, and humanity has arrogance, to believe that we could understand something when we have no instincts. In fact, we wear shoes. We are so disconnected from nature that we can't even touch it. Isn't that ironic? And I'm a person who wears shoes. In fact, I'm Irish and I'm old-fashioned, so I'm quite repressed. You know, I don't wear shorts to the beach. In fact, I'm the guy who fully dressed at the beach. In fact, my wife has never even seen my feet. We're trying to bring the repression back. But that being said, the reality of it is, how is a disconnected creature ever going to have the wisdom? And in reality, is it not the very simple creatures that we see, that we are enslaving, that have the wisdom? Perhaps because they see the world in a very different way than us. The most wonderful thing about ignorance is that you start at zero. You've got nothing to lose. You have only to gain. So when we accept the fact that we know nothing, you have the abilities to learn everything then. It's when we have preconceived ideas that we are drawn. We become in that echo chamber and we see nothing. Well, we've always done it. Some guy at the pub said it once, and now it's truth. That's literally how I was told. Some red-faced farmer who used to spray chemicals with no mask on was telling me how the land needed to be treated. The irony. And you know what happens to boorish, bully farmers with spraying chemicals with no mask on? It doesn't end well. So they can eat the bacon sandwich, they can do all those things, they won't last long. And in reality, everything the entire belief system is built on is paper thin. Truth always floats to the top eventually. We have to sometimes drag the waters, but it does come. So when I started this project, I thought to myself, I'm going to make a difference. I don't care what it costs. Because what is the point if there's no future? Because when you spend, and my family's been in this place for 900 years. When you've been in a place for 900 years, the concept of time is different. I realize that I am merely a grain of sand. And you know, it's so, so wonderful when you can finally just say, I am unimportant. I am just part of the picture. I am not the center of the picture. It's refreshing, believe it or not. It's exhilarating to be very unimportant. But even that grain of sand can erode mountains. We just have to be blowing in the right direction. So what I ask people is to question everything that we're told and think about origins for a moment. We ourselves, in Ireland in particular, fought so hard to get independence, to protect our language, to protect our culture. And families have fought and died over land. And yet, we have such disrespect for the land. Isn't that the contradiction? The fact that families have broken over inheritances, the families have fought over the family farm, people have died in trenches over land. And yet when we have the land, there is no stewardship. There is no admiration. Our great poets, our great writers and artists, what was their inspiration? It was the land. If you go around the whole time looking at your phone, you'll never see the beauty of the light of the day. So the first thing I always say to people is, just take a break from your ideals for a moment. Walk this place. Take it in and listen. And if you listen closely, the land will whisper. And the funny thing is, as a guy who did not like nature at the beginning, that's exactly what happened to me. I used to walk this place because I didn't want to spend any more time with my mother, who was, at my age, in your 30s, living with your mother. Yeah, there are one or two ways. Either you're going to be a very strange guy or you'll be a serial killer. And I wasn't going to be a serial killer, so I was going to be a strange guy. And my mom definitely ragged on me the whole time. So I would go for long walks just to escape the house. And I'd have my big headphones on. But after a while, the headphones came off. And I began to listen. And then what I would just do to escape became a thing of pleasure. Then I would go for 2, 3 walks a day. And suddenly I had fallen in love with something that had always been in front of me. And yet I never really noticed. And I think anyone who's really ever fallen in love has sometimes, it's that. It's this light that suddenly perforates the darkness. And that was the beauty. And that's when I realized I had an opportunity, maybe more than most people, to be a champion for the very creatures that were coming back as a result of nature. And I thought to myself, our great challenge in this generation is not to protect people. We've had that. Our great challenge is to uplift all, animal and people alike. We will never have happiness. We will never have fairness when part of our great, great population is in chains or in concentration camps. We will continue to do malice and evil because that part of our brain is constantly under exercise. We are training ourselves for evil. The only way to counter evil is with good. And that means acknowledging everything and taking it as it is. It's the number one way, the basis of any relationship, is to accept for what you are. When you accept and you're not trying to project on, life becomes very simple. Life becomes very easy. And I assure you, as crazy as all of this sounds, I did not always believe this. I lived it. And that's why I wake up every morning, no matter how difficult my day is being, I think to myself, today is a day we fight back. We do what those before us had never done because they were not aware. And the most wonderful thing about this knowledge is that now we are aware and we will change. And even if the idea is in someone's mind for a moment, we risk inception. That idea will perforate and grow. And suddenly, maybe 2 years from now, that very person who did not believe you, argued with you in the street, will have an epiphany. Because I tell you, that is exactly what happened to me. I was the person you were arguing with. And here I am now. So when people say to me, we're all doomed, we're all gloomed, this is a perfect trap for you to never do anything. And there is no such thing as, well, I can't really do it. I can't. Stop worrying about your personal problems and start looking at others. Because when you do good elsewhere, good comes back. And you suddenly become happy. Suddenly the depression's gone. Suddenly you can put the pills away. And it starts with what you eat for breakfast. It starts with how you consider the cohabitants of this planet. And I don't just mean animals. We have to also consider plants, trees, and ecosystems. You know what the funny thing is about exploitation? We exploit, or we manage, we control. These are weapons of fascism in reality. What we should be considering is, how do we trade? What do we take and what do we give back? Because the philosophy is as old as time. It's the yin yang, black and white. We can take, but we must also give. When things become one-sided, well, that ends in divorce if you're in a relationship, and you end up with no couch and watching probably TV on your phone because their TV is missing. That's what you need. So we must take these ideas that have been part of our civilization. I used to go to college and there was a guy with a yin-yang flag or poster in his room. Do you think he ever really considered the meaning of the yin-yang? He didn't. He just bought it in a market. But isn't that the sad thing? You have such wonderful information, such wonderful philosophies all around us, and yet none of us listen. The Bible, the Quran, all of these things, they are textbooks on how to be a better person. We may disagree in certain elements here, but you know what? We'll go back to the Bible for a minute because I'm from a Catholic country, and God created man, then Eden, and they created this wonderful place. And what did we do with these wonderful gifts? We destroyed the ecosystems, we enslaved the animals, and then we hope that if we go to church on Sundays, we'll be saved. Well, you know what I would do if I was God? I would smite us all. I would raise the water. I would come down with thunder and fire and everything under the sun. But I am not that person, and I am not the deity. So we live by doing better a little bit every day. And suddenly, if we do a little bit every day, suddenly a little bit becomes a lot. And then suddenly people all around us are changing. I started doing that, and I see a lot of vegans nowadays. I see a lot of people who are concerned. And you know what? A little bit of fear-mongering always goes a long way, because people should be very terrified. And you know what? Scared people do things. Do you know who the people who don't do things? Comfortable people. Comfortable people do nothing in life. It's people who are hungry who do things. And maybe it's about time people get hungry and they learn the consequence of our decisions, because there is no such thing as a free lunch. Everything we do comes with a price. Some prices are more costly than others, but there is a bill at the end of the party that has to be paid. So how do we do it? We have to adopt a philosophical approach to conservation. We have to consider that plants will change and evolve. This concept that we just take is, well, it never worked well up till now. For the 2,000 years that we've been around, we've taken, and one person comes along and destroys another. And for 2,000 years, we've done the same thing. What makes us think the next 1,000 years is going to make any difference? And people say, oh, but that's because humans are bad. I would argue humans are all right. Just eating the wrong food, which is making them crazy. Like getting drunk every day. Take away the booze, well, you clean up real good very quickly. So that's one of the things that I advocate here, because we're not too many. Rewilding is normally associated with regenerative grazing, and regenerative grazing, excuse my French, is bullshit. Because regenerative grazing is a low-fat option. It is us still exploiting animals, but under the guise of, oh, but it's a bit better. It's better for the environment. Well, yeah, great. Yeah, throwing your sewage into a ditch is a bit less bad than throwing it out of your window. Congratulations. That's not really going to cut it. When we know the science, you see, the truth is, we are talking about ecology. They're asking you guys to drive electric cars, to maybe don't buy off Shein or whatever. But people are forgetting the biggest white elephant in the room, that animal agriculture outweighs all of those other things. You could drive every day of your life and it won't even cross even the tiniest amount of threshold for what we do with the pork industry or what we do with the cattle. And when they blame vegans and people for soya, as if we were the biggest consumers of soya, it's this misinformation from people who are terrified of change. But you know what the one thing about change is? Storms come and make havoc on civilizations, and we will be the storm. Because the reality of it is, people are waking up every single day. They are beginning to see beyond the matrix. I myself saw beyond the matrix. I myself have helped convert at least 30 people into being vegan. And those 30 people may convert people as well. And who knows how this knock-on effect continues. Some people will not have what it takes to be all-out Jedi vegans. But those choices, even in small amounts, begin to have a knock-on effect. So it's very important that we inform people. It's very important that we challenge. Some people will get scared into things because you show them slaughterhouse videos. Some people need to see science. Some people just need an emotional connection. And some people just have to have a moment. They just have to see it. They have to see an animal. Because most people, the meat industry is very good at keeping us away from animals, keeping us away from their pain. By disassociating animals from feelings, it's very easy for us to just get away with murder. So the more time spent, the better, and the more people begin to wake up. And that's why one of the things we do here is we try and bring a different kind of concept. You see, back in the early 80s and 70s, the CIA started trying to push drugs in Harlem and places like that. The idea was to get people addicted to drugs, and they could funnel all their endeavors. Now, I don't sell drugs, but I do sell green. So I go to schools and do all the things that the CIA tried to do and get them young, get them here, get them enjoying nature, because the power of nature is as addictive as drugs. And once you get addicted to green, it's very hard to not have it. The people I know who get addicted to green, they have to go live in the countryside. They even live in caravans to be in the wild. And it's contagious. And that's what we do. We try and get as many young people in, and we try and hit them with this concept, this philosophy. And seeing that all the cultures throughout time have had little inklings that we should be listening to. Nobody has it exactly right. The Asians had the yin yang, the Westerners had something else. We take the best bits and we put it all together, and it creates a template of how things, and we realize there's a kind of a mutual understanding that's almost ignored across the world. But where you'll notice the most misunderstandings are in the higher concentrations of places where we consume death. And that's the thing. Where we have less, if you go to the Amazon, it's not that those people are vegetarians, but they're so in touch with nature, and yet we look down upon them as primitive, when in fact we are the barbarians poisoning our own planet and poisoning our own water and enslaving our own people. So what does that really say about us? It says we have a lot of work to do. Any questions? Or not, I can keep talking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally just feeling really just energized by everything you're saying, and I don't have any questions at the minute, just processing it all, but thank you. It's awesome. So yeah, please carry on.
I'll
But
keep
your
going.
camera is frozen. It has been for a while, but we were hooked. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I don't understand computers. Hold
The
on.
voice itself was
Let
powerful
me
enough.
see.
So
Stop
didn't
video.
feel, but maybe
Hold
now
on.
that
Maybe
we
I
have
can
a
do this
short
again.
break, that's a moment.
Start video.
Ah,
I'm
there you
back.
go again.
There you
Perfect.
go. I don't know how to work this thing. It took me 10 minutes just to get signed in. It keeps asking me for PIN numbers and whatever. And I thought, is my bank account empty? I better check. But anyway, going on to it, let's talk about the future. So we started this 12 years ago. The rewilding project, we took 1/3 of our farm because a lot of the arguments will be, well, we can't all eat grass. I'm not telling you to eat grass. 2/3 of our farm still produces food. Now, unfortunately, I can't guarantee that all that food ends up on your plate. Some of it may end up in animal feeds, very likely. But reality of it is we produce crops. No animal exploitation of any kind. I refuse to even sell hay because it ain't going to go to us anyway. So no hay, no animal exploitation. So that's the first thing. Animals, everyone's welcome. Don't care what you are. If you're a rodent, if you're a pigeon, you're all good here. No killing of any kind. So that's the next thing that we do. We also accept nature, however it's going to be, plain, boring, whatever. You see, there's a circle of life that we never respect. We only look at life because it has bright colors, because it's young and fruitful, because it gives us something. One of the main things we have to stop thinking about is what do we get? And start look at this wonderful thing and how it works. I bring the circle of life. You are born, you grow, and then you fruit or you peak. Then you get a bit old and grumpy like me. Then you get really old and nobody wants to talk to you anymore. And then you die. And that is only the beginning of the journey, because then you have to rot and you are recycled, hence the circle. If you break the circle, you end up with something called C. And C stands for crap. And that's what we do because we exploit fields. We exploit ecosystems. We take and we never allow the rest of the circle to happen. So what happens is we have to start putting additives. We have to start giving things. And that's what I said at the beginning of this. The future is not a C. It is yin yang. It is give and take. We will be able to exploit. I won't use the word exploit. Let me rephrase that. We will be allowed to use and be able to take advantage of, but we must also be willing to allow nature to express itself and allow itself to recover, to rest. And that's the beginning of how we start to have a fair society. And we start to do that. And the power of doing that is we have seen all the creatures come back. We had at least one new animal return a year. Last year we had 5. We have seen the woodpecker first time in 100 years arrive here. We have red kites that were never here before. I have salmon for the first time in 70 years. We have otters. We have hen harriers of now. We have nuthatches, all these birds. We have doubled our insects in 5 years. We have seen a 35% increase of birds in 5 years, and we keep getting more animals back. And that's not enough. And what I realized very quickly is that this is step one. But how do we get this to the next level? Because remember, one nature reserve, one sanctuary, it's a drop. We need an ocean. We have to learn, and one of the things I learned very quickly is that the human race can only handle about 20% difference anytime. If it's more than 20%, we struggle. We just can't seem to get our heads around it and people fall off the wagon. But 20% is about all we can do. Hollywood does this for films. And when you go to the cinema and you watch that tripe that they put in the cinema and you go, God, another superhero movie, but slightly different. That is the 20/80 rule. Hollywood understood this. And I understood that that was also the same way with the environment and these concepts, because if you go too abstract, people will just lose you. So in the early part of the 20th century, John Rockefeller was lobbying to get corporations to become permanent. Because before John Rockefeller, corporations had to serve the public good, and they had to be wind down within several years. He lobbied very hard to give corporations legal protection, not to be for the public good and not to be wound down. Why is that important? We created that model, and that model we understand. We understand that corporations have protections. How do we do that for nature? Well, we have to do the exact same thing. How do we do that? We have to create a value for nature. Now, value is not something that we can just say, oh, but it's valuable. We have to get something out of it, because remember, the 80%, we're at 20% with already putting value on nature. So the way we do that is we have to create a way of making money from nature and conservation. How do we do that? Well, we have to create a value system. Then we have to create legal protections. And then once we are able to offer a service or a product, suddenly nature becomes very important and we have to protect it the same way they did with corporations. So that was one of the things that I was thinking about. I hated this concept because I thought to myself, but isn't this just the same evil that we saw before? And I said, yes, but the evolution starts small in 20%, a next rotation, another 20%, and a further 20%. And suddenly, a few rotations on, it's a completely different thing. So we created something called the biodiversity credit system. Now, you probably have all heard of carbon credits. It's not carbon credits. We use carbon as a measurement, but we created something. And one of the things myself and my partners at BioNewa decided to create, we have nature. So land, we accept that if you let it rewild, benefits will happen. You'll start having more plants, so on, so on. So diversity is valuable. So we put that as a metric. We use the information that a satellite flies over Ireland every 2 days and gathers the information of the carbon and the seismic data and all that stuff. That gets put into the equation. We see the benefits of, per time, every few years, we see, oh, we got more plant diversity, we got animals, we got more insects. That's another point. And now the newest thing is soil. We are slowly understanding the soil by putting sensors and things into the soil. The idea is all of these points will create a value. And if you consider that carbon is absorbed every year, that carbon becomes a metric measurement of the benefits with all these things in an equation. So perhaps your field that you leave alone gets a 9+. That means that your field, when you start rewilding it for nature, may be worth a C-. A C- has a value, and corporations and companies that are now legally obligated to go carbon neutral in the future and have to do carbon accounting, at the moment. And in the very short few years, all medium companies will have to do that, now have to offset what they are going to do. So that means they will have to buy units like this to be able to offset many of the damages that they're doing. This is a very interesting thing because this allows for people to be able to finance nature-related benefits. And also, it is creating the very value that I was saying that will give us ultimate protection of nature. So we are using the bastards' mechanisms to protect nature. The same way that corporations got protection, we will see nature get protected, because by creating this is exactly how it happens. And ironically, the moment there's a dollar value attached to it, suddenly everybody's listening. And that's the sad truth. But unfortunately, we can't change the whole world overnight. It's 20% first. So this is the first 20%. And in the future, we won't have to put a value to things because we will just see that nature is important. But not today. Today, we still got to play the dance of the wolves. So that is what we've been creating here, and we are doing it. We did the first biodiversity sale in history in Ireland, second in the world, and that is Coffee Angel, a local Irish company that is very focused on environment. They give 5% of their profits for these biodiversity credits. Now, it's not a moneymaker for us just yet. We have put that 5% back in so we can have even more science and refine it. By creating this system that I am helping create, there's no watering down. There's no funny, oh, we'll just do a few little tweaks so it's like easy, and no. We're doing the highest level of standards. So this obligation is about getting nature back, not about lining the pockets of people. If some people can do well and be motivated, then great, but this is the truth. And that's what we've tried to create. We're trying to create new models to which people focus their attentions on nature and putting a value on it, a value that we will fight for, because we only do things for money, unfortunately, in this world. But this begins to get the mainstream moving. And imagine if we started doing this imagine if people started surrendering their fields of sheep for fields of nature. It sounds crazy, but suddenly the farmer who was getting $2,000 for his sheep might be getting 2.5 for nature. And suddenly we start to attack animal agriculture because suddenly it's not as juicy as it used to be. And suddenly over time, people start to substitute, and gradually we have nature. And as with nature comes new animals, comes insects, and we avoid this looming disaster. And we start to consider nature. And then once we start to consider nature a little bit, we will have another long look at those animals that we have in cages and in pens. And perhaps some of us with a bit more wisdom will start to think, maybe I should just do all nature, and maybe I should leave these cattle alone. Maybe I shouldn't put an animal in a cage. Maybe more nature. Maybe we should eat more crops. And you know what? Maybe suddenly we're eating fresh apples and fresh food, and our water isn't polluted because there's a chicken farm down the road, because the guy with the chicken farm is making loads of money doing nature and he's not having to work quite as hard. And suddenly these simple ideas turn into big behemoths, and we have nature for everyone and nature everywhere, because nature is not a commodity. It's part of our lives. Unfortunately, we almost have to dress it up as a commodity so we'll listen. And that's what I truly have discovered. And it's a terrible thing, and it's a burden sometimes to think like that. But to run with wolves, you've got to think like a wolf. And that's what I realized, that I'm capable. I'm an evil landlord. Why not think like a wolf?
I think that's a very, very powerful image to have, this, the wolf. Why not?
Why not?
I could listen to you forever, and I think everybody else could, because I think it's very important and fascinating. But I still want to at least have a few minutes for everybody to raise some questions, maybe comments, questions, whatever, while we still have your presence here. So yes, everybody should be able to unmute themselves. So if you have any questions or comments, just unmute and let's hear.
No questions. That's okay. I must have said it all.
You said so much and so eloquently and so detailed and so passionately that, yeah, I mean, I think it's probably a case of processing a lot of what you've said. And if you're obviously, are you available for people if they wanted to reach out to you after the event?
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
We are. The thing is, when you really believe in veganism, you just get so excited about it. I get so excited trying to get people to turn. It's my hobby. Like I sit at a bus stop. Hey, you, what do you got in here now? It's a ham sandwich. Maybe you should listen to this, and then just go blah, 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 blah. And you know what? I love it. For me, it's like sports, except I don't really like sports. But turning people vegan is the ultimate sport. So absolutely, I'm very passionate about veganism. And you know what? Every day we do a little bit is a day of success. And the likes of Nia at Heartstone and the people all around the place who are doing things in all different levels, small and big. We need to shine a light on these people, guys, because it's so easy to, think that somebody else is going to do it. But there are people in the trenches every day fighting. And the likes of people like Nia and other sanctuaries like hers, we need to really stick up for. So guys, I can't thank you enough for trying to organize these things. It's very, very important. And we have to keep working together because we did not get here by ourselves. We were going to get out of here together.
Absolutely. Thank you. That sums up a lot of what's been said today. Is it's all about working together, looking after ourselves, but extending that same kindness to ourselves to every being on the planet. And we have to do what we can to help everyone where we can. So thank you for that really powerful message.
Yes, and also great reminder, I'll put it in the chat again, that we are here to get even more funds over to Nia and to Heartstone. I mean, we have been doing amazingly, but I'm just popping in the donation link again in the chat, just for people who came in late, who will be seeing this later. Of course, we're going to put the link also in all the places where they need to be put, but just a little reminder. We have received a lot of generous donations. We hope they keep coming through whatever channel. Hopefully, sooner or later, somebody with a very big wallet will also see this and will be tired of carrying such a heavy wallet. So in the meantime, yeah, like you said, we just keep doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. And that's what we have to keep doing. And you know what? We can be warriors in this. We have to be, There's no benefit is made sitting at home. It's all about getting your hands dirty and helping.
Exactly. And spread the word of the Heartstone, spread the word of the fundraiser and the links, and the more that people just, keep doing it, spread it, spread the word, and tag people.
Enjoy it while we do it. That's
exactly.
the most important. It's great work, and if you can enjoy what you do, then you're really blessed.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Enjoy the rest of it. It's going to go great. Send Nia some money. I'm about to.
Thank you so much. Well, feel free to join us if you stay with us if you need, but obviously if you need to go, obviously everything will be available on YouTube afterwards.
Log in and out. So
no worries.
Enjoy,
do
guys.
What you need. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Stay
Bye.
vegan.
Awesome. That was amazing. So much food for thought again. So speaking of food, I think this is on our last offering of the day, but yeah, it's time now for some cooking with my teammate, Elena. So we'll have this next cook along, make spatzel. Is that how you say it? Spatzel with me. So yeah, over to you, Elena.
Close enough. It's spätzle. Is anybody actually cooking with me, or is it just... You're just going to watch me? Because I don't see any pots and pans anywhere. And with this heat, I can't say it's my preferred environment of cooking, but we can just chat while we cook. Anyway, I'll be putting the recipes up anyway, so later on, so people can do this whenever, but I said I'm going to do this, so I'm going to do this. Can you unmute yourselves so we can have a chat while we cook? Because I don't feel weird if I'm just...
Absolutely, yeah.
Because people are dropping in and out. See me? So, yes, but why don't I tell you a little bit about Drechsler and why I chose to do this? Because I'm aware that not everybody has access to this, but this is what it looks like. And it's funny because I'm not in Germany right now, but it's a very German thing. And so I'm in France. And I was surprised to see this in the organic store, but the only vegan version of it, they put wild garlic in it. So this is not usually green. I've never seen this version in Germany. I don't know about you, Jen, but
No.
that's what they have here. So that's what I'm using. And it's my comfort food. I love this dish. I make it, I don't know how many times a week. I love it. So whenever it's not that hot, please try it. It's really good. And if you don't have access to this, then you can just use potatoes or any kind of pasta. That'll work just as well. So I prepped a little bit. I forgot my mushrooms in the sun earlier. I noticed. I was like, okay. Because I like to put them in the sun to soak up some extra vitamin D.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
But yeah, then I forgot them. It's like, oh, what?
Different texture, I guess.
They are
Already
fine.
cooked.
I'm almost certain they won't cause food poisoning because I just bought them fresh. So, okay, what else do we need? I have a big pot of water here that I'm gonna put some salt in, just like you're cooking pasta. Just throw in some salt, and we will start boiling the water in a bit. But yes, I washed everything already, so I prepped. And you need to let me know if you can't see anything. And a bit of oil. I chose olive oil. I know people say you shouldn't be frying with olive oil, but I think millions of Italians can't go wrong. Plus, this is not like frying forever, high temperatures. So that's pretty much the first thing we do. So, what did everybody else eat? Because this is my breakfast actually, and my lunch and my dinner. So
yeah, I've had toast with peanut butter for breakfast. That was, oh no, I didn't. My partner made some other thing with mushrooms, actually. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. It's been many hours. Yeah, that's what I usually have. But I haven't had lunch though. I've just been too engrossed. So yeah, this is my virtual lunch dinner.
Yeah,
that's good.
My housemate made some salad, so gonna have this afterwards.
Nice.
So you can use leek or onions. I like leek because it's a lot easier to handle. I'm not a fan of peeling onions, cutting onions too much. Oh, I love onions, but I have an induction stove, which I also am not a big fan of, but that's what I have to deal with right now. So I put that on 5 initially. So what did everybody think of the day so far?
Yeah, it's been really cool. It feels like a lot longer than it's been because it's all been so great. I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, it feels very special to be here today.
Yeah, I would love to have been there a bit earlier, but yeah.
Life be life in.
Never works in a hospital. Yeah.
What's your job?
Huh?
Are you a nurse or do you do?
I'm a peds nurse, yeah. Pediatrics. Yeah. Yeah. So nothing.
That's funny. We've been working alongside for 4 weeks. Yeah. We have no clue about each other's lives because like Luna said earlier, it's just been about cows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's so interesting, isn't it? You're like my sisters, but I don't know you very well. I have love for you, but I don't know you. And that is special. That is special.
Oh, let's see. Well, I'm not hot yet. So you can either use like half a leek, so I use about this much that's missing. It was about the same amount, or 1 onion, and I have like 1 clove of garlic. Could be 2. I really like garlic. Also think garlic makes everything better. Just chop it in like thin slices.
I can smell it.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because it's 1,000,000 degrees here inside this house.
Yeah, same.
Well, it's only 31 right now.
In the house.
Yes.
Well, my room has 29.9, so
It's been worse here, but ever since we had music, one of our cats, I mean, he looks like a dead horse because he's not moving, but he could go outside. I mean, it's also hot, but at least there's a breeze. But since the music, he's been glued to the table behind me and just
Because the table's cold, right? The surface is feeling cool.
probably not. I think it was he just wanted them. He likes music. He's a very
Okay, cute.
musical cat.
Guess the vibrations of the sound.
So I throw in the leek and the garlic together. Bear in mind, I'm not a professional chef. I just like cooking. So maybe somebody who's watching who's a professional chef. But you can't do that. I can't. And I do. So. Okay, so let's fry for a while. That's the moment when I add some pepper already. I think it makes all the difference if you add some spices already with the frying mushrooms. That's herbe de Provence. And some parsley. Oh. And I hope nobody's going to ask me how much of this do you need, because I really don't know. I just like
I have a tendency to improvise when I'm cooking too. I very rarely follow things. I'm like, oh, that smells nice, so I'll add a bit of that, maybe a bit more. Cool, yeah. I have no idea how I make most things. Everything tastes different every time, but that's part of the adventure.
It's true. This is when you should turn on your water to boil, because it's quite a big pot. So I mean, with the stove, it goes relatively quickly, but it'll need some time to boil. And how do you cut mushrooms? I'm curious. I'm doing a survey first.
The way I do it is I don't love the stalk. I have like a weird thing about the texture of it.
But me
so
too. Do you take it off?
No, I used to, but I didn't want to waste it. And people, so what I do is I put it flat so the stalk is facing upwards. Then I crush it with the side of the knife, so it makes it squished, and then I chop it, and then it gives it more of a sort of a meaty texture rather than a mushroomy texture. If that makes sense, that seems to help.
That's actually, that's a good thing, because I always take it out and then
interesting.
Probably just throw it out.
I love the stalk, so I'm I turned the heat down a little bit because we chatted too much, and I should have cut the mushrooms by now. But
chatting and cooking, that's not my strong point.
I used to just cut them up like usually I take out the stem and I cut it like this. And then for this dish, I made little cubes usually, but it depends on the dish. So that's what I used to do, like this. But lately I found I have an interesting relationship with mushrooms, and I really don't know why and what it means, but they've always fascinated me, and I literally feel like they're giving information when I hold them. I do know that they soak up vitamin D if you put them in the sun, so I'm like, why not? Yeah. Why wouldn't they, you know?
Well, they're very complex. They're very complex. Yeah, exactly. So there must be something in that.
So I really enjoy like touching them, so I've just been starting to pull them instead of cutting them.
Well, that will change the texture as well. It makes it more rough rather than chopped bits, and I think that would help. Yeah, interesting.
And I think the texture, yes, but also for me the taste. Maybe I'm imagining that.
Well, maybe it works the same as kale, because you know you're supposed to massage kale before you cook it. And that brings out the flavors too. And tomatoes as well. If you ever get a tomato that tastes very bland, you just are doing the same thing. You just squish it and chop it, and it promotes the flavor a bit. Yeah.
Never did that.
I didn't know that. I love massaging kale, by the way.
Yeah, it's really satisfying. I do love it. A friend told me about it years ago, and I was like, oh, kind of weird, but sure, I'll give it a go. I'm like, oh, I'm into this. Yeah, it's great. Makes it fit better as well, because obviously it makes it slightly smaller and more manageable, malleable. So what kind of mushrooms did you get? Because obviously that's
mushrooms.
Yeah, button mushrooms, cool.
But I've used other mushrooms too. I've used shiitake. That worked well, actually.
Yeah.
Haven't tried oyster mushrooms with this dish, but don't see why it shouldn't work.
Well, when I was a child, I absolutely hated mushrooms and raw onions. I hated them. My mum was like, when you're a grown up, you'll love them. And I did, but mushrooms, it took going vegan for me to like mushrooms, because I knew that like, oh, there's only mushroom options. So I was like, I'm going to have to. And then I had a raw mushroom. I had like a little bite of a raw mushroom because I was just chopping. And I was like, I'm just going to try this out. Just like, who knows? And I was like, oh, this is different. It's a different texture because it's more crunchy. It's like, okay, it's the slug-like texture that I find difficult. So you've got to cook it to a certain point where you don't have that texture. And then I got into them. And now I'm like so about mushrooms because, again, it just depends on the texture. So just be very picky about how I prepare them, I think.
Yeah, many
they're so good for us.
Have this thing with mushrooms. I've always loved them. And I grew up in a family where I was the only mushroom lover, so I didn't get to eat them a lot. I think I'm making up for that now in my self-love. But yeah, so we'll just fry this a little and add some more of the 3 spices. Pepper. That's the Provence. You know that you're not supposed to add salt.
I heard about that one. Yeah.
Because it takes out the water, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Makes them very watery. So, and we need this.
Yeah, just to be moist.
Fry for a moment, and I just realized I forgot to take out 2 ingredients. So, second.
There comes the wine.
Yeah, what have you got though? Is it white or red? Because the bottle's
white. It's one of the vegan labeled ones you can find here.
Cool.
With I mean, you go to specialty stores, obviously, or natural wine stores, but this one is mostly in most supermarkets.
Nice.
Find it. So I use white or rosé.
Where in France?
This is not required. I mean, you don't want to cook with wine, you don't need it. You can also just use the balsamic vinegar. I like it both.
Yeah. Where in France are you currently? Are you in Paris?
No, I'm in La Rochelle on the Atlantic coast.
La Rochelle. I think, have I been there? I have to look that up on Google Maps. Because I've been, I probably haven't. I have been to, I don't even know the English word, Bretagne last year. To, it's La Rochelle.
We're south of Brittany, so.
Oh, Brittany, yeah. That's the word. I think I've been close to it, so.
Never been to France.
No, I haven't.
Sorry to interrupt, but if it really sizzles, that's the moment when you want to add the wine.
Got it. Okay. Sizzle time.
Really give it this. And also the balsamic vinegar. Now you can actually add the salt. This is Hawaiian salt.
There's somebody cooking around somewhere, so if it's weird, I can smell food, but it could be that.
It doesn't match.
Yeah.
It's not this food. Okay, so this now just simmer for a bit with a lid. And by now this water should be boiling, but turn it on a little too late, so it will eventually. So did you find where you went close to La Rochelle?
Actually, no, we didn't actually get close to La Rochelle. We went to I think the closest we got was Lannion, I think. Ah no, Perrault-Guirec, I think.
Where?
Lannion. It's I think it's close to. Let me see what else is there. Not much, apparently.
Mm.
Yeah, actually, I think it's North Brittany.
Oh, okay. No.
It was actually. Do you find lots of vegan options in France?
I'll tell you in a moment. Let's just now the water's boiling. I'm using for this amount of sauce. I'm using half a pack of this, so that's 250 grams.
So is it a green thing? Is it plant? Is it like a spaghetti type thing, or is it like a plant type thing? It looks like rocket kind of texture-ish.
Wild garlic.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool.
And that's what gives it the color.
Got it.
The traditional version of this is just plain whitish.
Yeah, I think it's normally made. Is it normally made of eggs and
the traditional version has eggs, yes.
Right, okay.
But by now, all the organic stores in Germany, they carry vegan versions. Also, some of the non-organic stores, even sometimes Lidl.
Lidl has them. Yeah. When I lived in Ireland, they always had these Bavarian week or whatever it was, which is not like Drechsler are not really Bavarian, I think, but they would have them as well, but like non-vegan ones, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they will be cooking for about 11 minutes. The way you can tell with Drechsler if they are good is they come to the top, they rise to the top. So once they're done, and if you make them from scratch, which I've to this day been really too lazy to try, they usually have a different shape. They're like thicker and shorter, but all the store-bought ones, unless the fresh ones, they make nice. So, to your question, it really in France, you can't really say yes or no.
Yeah.
Question. It depends a lot on where you are.
Yeah.
I remember my first time when I spent a few weeks in France, that was 2019 with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And we found a really nice place, and I went back a couple months later to do some writing there. And I tried to find tofu. And this is 2019. And that in itself was a challenge, let alone anything else, processed or ready-made. Obviously, I could buy veggies and stuff. But in some stores, they looked at me like, what?
Yeah.
Tofu. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've been in France on and off for quite a while, not since 2019, but so I go between France and Germany a lot. And in the last 4 years, that has changed a lot. And 4 years ago, I would say it was still in the regular stores, not so easy. The organic stores usually also it depended, but usually it was okay. But something shifted about 2 years ago, and suddenly every regular supermarket had massive amounts of vegan options. Of course,
I found it really hard in where we went. I couldn't even get a coffee with oat milk or soy or whatever, almonds. I would have taken everything, but there was nothing, like not a single cafe that had.
When was this?
Was it last year or 2 years ago?
Really?
Yeah, it was really hard. I always traveled with my little jug with my oat milk, so I could just get a coffee and then put the oat milk in.
Wow.
Again,
Yeah.
that really depends where you are.
Yeah,
Here in
yeah,
La
so.
Rochelle, at this point, most places will have oat milk usually,
Yeah.
but they all charge you a supplement, a ridiculous supplement.
Yeah,
Except
yeah.
for there are a few that don't, but it's the minority.
Yeah.
But in the supermarkets, I mean, one day, we found vegan pain au chocolat, so like the
Oh,
chocolate croissant in a
Wow.
regular supermarket. I mean,
yeah.
we're like the packaged, not freshly baked, but still, you know, it's like never thought
Yeah.
I'd eat that day.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, in La Rochelle, we used to have a vegan restaurant. Unfortunately, right now we don't, but we have some food trucks, and we just have had a new addition, a new vegan food truck
Hmm.
who came, and it's still a work in progress. Let's put it this way. There's room for improvement.
Yeah.
But if you know where to go and what to look for, but
Yeah.
it's not always obvious if you don't know your way around. And
Yeah.
obviously by now I do, but I remember
Yeah.
too.
They obviously love their cheese and butter.
That's always, oh, I just love my cheese. But we do have a fully vegan chocolaterie in La Rochelle.
Wow.
And that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the summer they do ice cream too.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
So interesting. When I first went vegan around 2016, I think, it was difficult. There really wasn't a lot of options. So I was kind of like, oh, well, good. At least there's not all these snacks that I just can't get them anymore. So great. But and I used to have to take the vegan cheese to Pizza Express and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually I didn't have to because they had it. And it was great for a bit. And then like the last year or so, it's been really difficult to get vegan options at regular stores. Because I know there's a lot of vegans who are like boycott Tesco's, etc., etc. I get that, but we have to get what we can and show the market is not meat, it's the vegan options, right? So that's how change happens, and that's how people that don't go to specialized stores that have vegan options can have access to that kind of thing. But those options are definitely depleting. So if you stop at a service station, hardly any options, and that's a real problem because there really was a lot. And you know, I can take or leave the vegan meats. I don't mind. Falafel's a bit boring. Back to boring falafel sandwiches, but I'd rather have that obviously than animal products. But a lot of people won't. So they're like, well, I'm just gonna get a chicken sandwich then, you know. And it really has such a huge impact. So,
Or nothing.
Yeah, or nothing. I mean, I will opt for nothing. I'll literally opt for crisps if I need to.
Fruit and nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, depending. Just adding some soy cuisine here.
Okay, nice.
This worked with oat too, but I like soy best actually for texture with this.
Yeah.
And because sometimes oat has too much of a
Too much thickness. Oh, the sweetness. Okay, yeah, fair.
So I prefer the soy here. But also it depends how thick you like the sauce or don't. It'll thicken up a little bit.
Hot.
But it's true though what you say. I see that everywhere in Germany, but also here. So for example, I mean, just like with Tesco, you know, or any big chain, of course, you know, there's ethical questions to consider, but at the same time, yeah, any vegan option they offer is one less animal option.
It's a bonus, yeah, exactly.
So the pizza chain Domino's, here in France, up until last year, they offered, I think, 3 vegan options.
Wow.
Like, not just leave out the cheese, but actually with vegan cheese, they took that completely off their menu.
Wow.
And
They're very good in Ireland. I think they still offer like 3 different versions, but there's only one in Germany, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
so for us on the road, if we were traveling in France, and France is a bigger country than I thought, go through it by car. So Domino's, even though, yeah, it was always something where we knew, okay, if we can't find anything else, at least
Yeah.
we that know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, well, by and large, there'll be a vegetarian option, but obviously it's like, well, there's dairy in it. So what am I supposed to eat? What if, because a lot of people also I found when I first went vegan, I would say I was vegetarian, but I'm allergic to dairy. Probably am. Probably all are because we're not baby cows, right? But I'd say that because I definitely got a reception from certain people that they weren't necessarily going to take me seriously.
Yeah.
So if I say I'm allergic, like it's quite serious. And so, yeah, there's people that are genuinely really allergic to dairy. So what do they eat? There's nothing for them.
Yeah.
And it's just, the mind boggles that dairy is so in everything. It's in everything. Still.
Yeah.
So
It's in crisps. Everything.
Crisps as well, yeah. Like, why though? What did you need to add this simple?
Yeah,
It's a cheap
popcorn.
ingredient. Popcorn,
Yeah.
I was traveling in Ireland in 2024. I don't know if anything has changed, but at that time, I mean, I lived in Ireland a very long time ago, very long. And so this was the first time I came back being vegan, and I was generally concerned. I knew the UK is good, but because we weren't in Dublin, we were kind of, again, I was with my mom traveling, and we went to like very small towns, but I was so impressed that I think we spent 2 weeks there, and maybe in the 2 weeks there were 3 places that set up, other than that,
they're actually quite
where
good.
we were,
Yeah.
any pub, anywhere, they had at least one option. Mostly they had more than one option, and
A curry. They always have a curry. A curry or a burger. Yeah.
Or a falafel something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but they're actually quite good. Well, if you go to the supermarket, you will see that they're like, if you want to buy pizza, it's always like meat feast or big meat eater stuff. But when you go to a restaurant, they're actually quite good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think a lot of people
remember the brand, unfortunately, but I had some pretty good vegan cheese that I found in a supermarket. Really
I think that was always the thing that put people off, because again, I gave up dairy before I went vegan because I was getting breakouts constantly, and I was really confused about that because I didn't understand. I'm not a teenager anymore. This is really strange. I knew that I was also on the pill or whatever I was on at the time, and not thinking about the connection of the extra hormones in your body, but I was also consuming dairy. As soon as I quit, my skin cleared up. So I quit for myself. I quit for myself, and then I realized, I think when I realized what was going on with the dairy industry, it made me connect more with the meat industry. It just made the whole thing just go, whoa, this is actually quite a big deal. I can't subscribe to this anymore. But so I'd already quit it, so I'd forgotten what dairy tasted like, so it didn't really bother me. I was like, oh, there's a vegan cheese, and
you really get used to it, don't you?
You do. I think once it's out of your system for at least 3 weeks, then it actually tastes really gross, and people just need to get past that. But obviously people are addicted to it because of what's in it for baby cows, but they have to just get past that point and persevere. And then they realize, ugh, gross. But I think that's the problem, is a lot of the vegan cheese tastes a certain way, like coconut. So we have one here called, gosh, I've forgotten what it's called now. Oh, it's gone. It'll come back. It'll come to me. Applewood. The Applewood vegan one is really good. It melts really well. It doesn't taste like coconut. It tastes really similar to me anyway. And a lot of people have tried it. That's that works for them. So.
Yeah, we actually went to a vegan cheese tasting pop-up last weekend, and it's called V's. It's like VEEZE, and it was really, really good. Like they had like a goat's cheese. That was really, really good. So I bought all of the cheese, and that was really like the way I remember cheese. I don't even know if it's true the way I remember it, but
yeah, sure, exactly.
So that was really good.
But yeah, and I think that's half the battle is people's taste buds. They're just like,
just to mention that.
Oh yeah. What are you adding?
Nutritional yeast.
Always.
Talking of cheese.
Yeah, but it's such a process, and it's the problem with here as well is we have Veganuary. Well, everywhere sort of has Veganuary, and so certain shops have this vegan range in January, and it flies off the shelves. It's gone. and then they don't restock it. And it's like, well, people wanted it. I want it. We know there's loads of people who want it. There's always this conflicting feeling when there's vegan options on the shelves. You're like, you want to buy it because you want it for yourself, but also you want others to try it. And also you want to show them that there's an interest for it. Yeah. And when it's not there, you're like, oh, well, it's good, right? Because loads of people are trying it. And then when they don't, what about me? That's what I've got. But it surprises me when they don't keep stock of it, because it is still a thing. I know. Yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah. Vegan ice cream. There are lots of vegan ice creams have just vanished from the supermarkets.
I've noticed that as well. And they've really nailed it. They've really, really nailed the texture. I mean, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a real shame as well. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really sad.
I know, it is really sad.
Especially now.
We're back to sorbet. Okay. Don't mind, but we're back to that again.
Ice pops. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird because, of course, when I first went vegan, there really wasn't that much of an option in the restaurants. And then when there was options, I was like, I'm used to having one option, or altering a meal that's already there, so I couldn't choose. I couldn't figure out what to choose. And I'm still a bit in that mindset. So if there's loads of options, I'm like overwhelmed, like I don't know which one to try. Yeah. And now the options have gone down again, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just choose that one option.
Yeah. Oh, it also makes it easy. Like you don't have to think about it. You can just.
It's true.
Okay, I'm gonna take this, I suppose. Because that's the only thing.
The spätzle are kind of at the floating, they're kind of floating, but you still want to check them. And if your sauce is too thick, you can add some of this water. But just might have left them a moment too long, but
nobody will know.
Nobody will know. No, I'll just pretend. Oh, it's the perfect consistency. So you are gonna strain them.
Wish I could try it.
It smells very good.
Gonna go for my salad very soon.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we're done.
Amazing.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
You guys love this as much as I do? Also make
I don't know what it... Oh, okay. Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's like garlic and nutritional yeast makes every dish better.
100%.
Well, I think it's gonna take me about 7 hours to come down to France.
Yeah, can you,
if you
Elena,
can keep
can
it
you
warm.
just keep a bit? Yeah.
I could.
I mean, the weather might keep it warm for you.
I also
keep it
have
outside.
more spätzle. One thing I always have in store. So, La Rochelle has an airport too, so might be quicker. We're tiny though, but like adding a little bit more parsley on top. And just a bit more pepper.
Really pretty bowl there.
Are done.
Ta-da! Yay!
Well
Awesome.
done. Looks good.
Looks amazing. Well, that's your done it sorted. So we can share the recipe, can't we? In the thing afterwards.
I wrote down the recipe.
Yeah.
I'm
Awesome.
going to take a picture of this.
Yeah, perfect. I guess we can just say thanks to everyone for chiming in today. Thanks for everyone for supporting the fundraiser. Thanks to my amazing team, amazing humans. I am so proud of what we've created and pulled ourselves together and found each other, on social media to help these beautiful cows. And yeah, just anyone who's watching the recap that we'll put on YouTube, we'll put all the links to all of the contributors today and anything else that's relevant as well. Please feel free to share as much as you can the link, donate. Let's get those cows saved. I think that's possibly all. Just my heart is full. Thank you so much.
I have nothing to add to what you
Same.
said, but agree with everything. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
I will
Thank
be eating.
you. Love, love, love. Save the cows.
Bye.